Dear God, today as this session opens, we pray that your presence will be before us and everyone who serves in the decision-making process of our city. We pray for direction which will lead our city to be strong and unified. May we continue the legacy of our founders. May we be granted this day the wisdom to make decisions which will be for the good of our city. We also pray for your special blessing on all those who are working to transform our city and make it a better place to live and work. Amen. If you please honor our nation's flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, I'd recognize Councilor Mercia.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to offer a moment of silence in Darkened Chamber for Stanley Stocklosa, a popular longtime Lowell High School baseball coach for 24 years and an accounting teacher for 44 years before retiring in 1986. He was a student of Lowell High School himself, serving as class president in 1935, the year that he graduated. I had the honor to name Alumni Field for Stanley Stocklosa, outstanding gentleman, inducted into the Massachusetts Baseball Coach Hall of Fame in 1974. He was a remarkable individual, well-respected, the husband of the late Catherine Philbin Stocklosa, which the Stocklosa School was named, having served as a school committee woman for many, many years. They were a remarkable couple. I don't have much more details on it, but I did hear of his passing, and I wouldn't let this evening go by without honoring him with a moment of silence in Darkened Chamber. He will be truly missed. He was a remarkable man, and I was honored to have known him for many years. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. If you'd all please rise in a moment of silence in Darkened Chambers. Roll call, please.
Councilor Menonza.
Here.
Councilor Mercia.
Here.
Mayor Murphy.
Here.
Councilor Nguyen.
Here.
Councilor Broderick.
Here.
Councilor Elliott.
Here.
Councilor Kennedy. Here. Councilor Laurie.
Here.
Councilor Martin.
Here.
9 present.
Thank you. We have under the city clerk's portion of the agenda, minutes of city council meeting May 22nd, minutes of the municipal facilities subcommittee on May 22nd, minutes of the special city council meeting for the city clerk May 29th for acceptance.
Move approval.
Motion to approve by Councilor Elliott, seconded by Councilor Kennedy. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? So voted. Next, we have a communication from the city clerk to request for referral to the Rules Subcommittee regarding change of Rule number 14.
I would move that we refer the matter to the Rules Subcommittee, Mr. Mayor.
Motion by Councilor Kennedy, seconded by Councilor Broderick. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? So voted. Next, we have, on the city manager's portion of the agenda, communication from city manager responses to city council motions and requests. Any discussion? Councilor Laurie.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In the packet this week, there was quite a bit we got back from the manager. One I'd like to thank the DPW, and I asked for about a crosswalk on Boylston Street some time ago, and I had a request from numerous people in the area. I went out, not only the school children walking in front of the Pine School, going into a driveway with no sidewalk across the street, but I saw a lot of the people walking their dogs who go to the 2 parks, and there was no place for them to cross. So I do want to acknowledge the DPW and the work they did, and thank the administration. And the other one was the DPD. They came back with the report on casinos. And again, not that I'm a big fan of casinos. I'm not a gambler, But it was interesting, it was for the 500 full-time jobs with benefits possible, $4 million in taxes. I was impressed that if they do put in some type of seating place that's only 1,000, so they wouldn't compete with the Lowell Auditorium, Memorial Auditorium, or the Songus Arena and things like that. But that's something for the public to decide down the road, not just us. But I want to thank the DPD for the report. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Broderick.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to thank the manager, and I assume it's the Commissioner Bellegarde for the response on the motion I made a little while ago on expanding our lacrosse access to our lacrosse goals, a wall ball. And it looks like it's going to be expanded to Gage Park and Shed Park at a nominal cost. It's a huge growing sport, and I think just the opportunity to get it into different neighborhoods. I'd like to, see us try and find a way to get something into the Acre, Pawtuckaville, to spread it out. They mentioned here the Daily School, which would get in, the Highlands. Right now, it's really only in Belvedere over at Colley Stadium, and it's a great opportunity for these kids to exercise, but also potential, the scholarship opportunities are phenomenal right now, and it's the fastest growing sport in the country. So I think I appreciate the response, and I look forward to continuing to help provide this for the youth.
Thank you. Councilor Noon, and then Councilor
Thank you,
Mercier.
Mayor. I also want to thank the manager, particularly the Superintendent LaValle, for providing the comparisons of the number of police officers in the city of Lowell with the city of its site. It's very helpful, and particularly the cost analysis of paying full-time officers with the overtime. I was wondering if we can, if I can ask to have this referred to public safety to have, more discussion on this issue.
Motion by Councilor Noon, seconded by Councilor Mendonça. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed? So voted. Any further? Councilor Mercier.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We did also have a response to the motion about providing an explanation of a uniformed police officer at the city council meetings, and we did get a response from the superintendent of police, and he said that it is an important decision to provide a police officer here. It does not hinder the safety of the public to have a police officer present and dealing with the general public over sometimes rather sensitive issues. It's always wise to have a police presence to instill decorum and general respect. And I agree, because if that police officer wasn't here, sometimes I probably would feel like ripping someone apart, but we're not doing that. So we have a police officer here, and maybe that should be the case. Although I don't see him today, and we're going to be discussing and cutting budgets. I don't want any department head to become rowdy, but we do have a police officer here, and I feel much safer knowing that there's one here. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Noon, and then Councilor Kennedy.
Just to add on to what Councilor Mercier indicated, the question we have with having officers outside the chamber. I think very in-depth analysis by the chief and his staff as to the importance of having an officers outside. So he's very detailed. So I want to thank him for doing that. And because he's recommend that we continue to have these officers outside, if when time comes, I will support that recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Kennedy, and then Councilor Elliott.
Through you to the city manager, I read that, my understanding, I just looking for clarification. My understanding was that the police officer stays here for a couple of hours until the meeting's over and then goes on to his regular detail. So it's not an overtime detail.
That's correct. That's correct.
Councilor Elliott.
Thank you. I did read the response as well to the motion, and I brought up, and I couldn't disagree more with the chief of police. And this is the reason why I brought it up, is the reason I still maintain that an officer walking the streets, driving a car, doing something else is much more effective than having a police officer here in the city council chamber. I read it that from a security perspective, there's only one common hallway, but there's also, or there should be, means of egress to the city manager's office. But my point was, we're always down police officers, and I think our officers signed up to protect the public, to be on the streets, and that's what they're trained to do, and that's what they should do. I don't think they should be in meetings, and I think if you ask the officers, that's what they signed up to do, to protect the public. We have many more issues on the street that need to be addressed and I respect the opinion of my colleagues. I really do. They want to feel safe. I have never felt threatened, and we've had heated discussions. This place has been overcrowded. It's been very, it's been packed. But I personally think that we hire a police officer and pay them very good money to do something on the street, protect people in the neighborhoods, answer calls that they can be doing much more effectively than they would be if they were in here. That was the point of my motion. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Councilman Johnson and then Councilor Martin.
2 items. First, there was a rather lengthy traffic task force report in our packet, and I haven't had time to review it all, obviously, but I'd like to refer it to the traffic subcommittee.
Sure. Motion by Councilman Mendonça, seconded by Councilor Broderick to refer. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed? So voted. Councilman
The
Mendonça.
second item was there's also a report regarding enhanced CAF law enforcement regarding parking tickets. It ties in with my motion, but I wasn't expecting it when I filed the motion. But if maybe through the mayor, the manager could give us an update on this, I think this is something that should be of great interest to anyone that parks downtown as to the capabilities of our parking enforcement.
Essentially, the technology is now there for the parking people to determine if there are, in fact, scofflaw drivers downtown, and if they meet a certain threshold, then we have the ability then to take the action of, we don't actually have, people may recall, some communities have the boot that they can put on a car, but in our case, we actually don't have that. We have the ability, though, to tow the vehicle and impound it until the parking fines are paid. We have some very large scofflaws in the city, and people that park downtown on a regular basis and don't pay their parking fines, and this is a way to ensure that they do, in fact, do that.
So my understanding is that now on a handheld device, it'll be able to show them if the vehicle they're inputting now has had a lot of prior tickets.
Prior unpaid tickets.
May do other enforcement other than just ticketing.
Correct.
Could call for a tow.
Exactly.
So it'll be important people pay their fines.
Exactly. And to your motion, Councilor, and I know we're not in that section of the agenda, but I think that can tie in well. When I saw your motion, it got me thinking that I know that in the city of Boston, they send out a statement that lists all of your tickets that you owe, not just the one. And I think something like that is certainly doable and something we're investigating.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Martin.
My questions were answered.
Okay. Any further discussion? Councilor Elliott.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We got 2 letters, one from the city manager and one from the auditor regarding the request that I made for out-of-state trips over the past 5 years. And what caught my attention, Mr. Manager and Madam Auditor, is seemed to be some concern with the number of hours that was spent researching or gathering this information. And I understand your point. I certainly do not want to be giving work or asking for information that would take an incredible amount of time and away from other responsibilities. But moving forward, what is the plan? Because I think tracking travel and those costs are as important as anything else. And if there isn't a system in place, I didn't think it was going to take 21 hours of your time, but it was, both of you clearly raised the issue on the amount of time that it took to do those reports. And in this day and age, I presume, like anything else, we ask for a report, like we got many reports, that you'd be able to cue something in the system and it would pop up. I don't want you to go back into the attic and look for records of 4 or 5 years ago. That was my intent. In fact, when I raised it, I just want to see how many we took. We took 53. There are some costs associated. I just want to see that. I don't want you to go into the attic. I don't want you to have staff go up there looking for records. My point was, I thought it was in the system. Everything is automated, but apparently it isn't. So what is your plan going forward, Madam Auditor or Mr. Manager?
If I may, Counselor, I think that one of the issues is, there's a few different issues. One of them is that I think easily remedied, or fairly easily remedied, is that people bill off the cost into different lines in their budget. They may, register for a conference and put that into training. And then that doesn't differentiate between in-state and out-of-state. The travel costs are then put in to the out-of-state line, if there is one in the budget. There used to be under the statute, you did have that requirement to be a specific out-of-state line, but that isn't the law anymore, so the UMass, the Uniform Municipal Accounting System, doesn't necessarily reflect that. That's fairly easy to do. We can set up, I think, and the auditor and I have had some very brief conversations, and she can certainly speak for herself on this, but I think that's fairly easy to do with the general fund. I'm not sure how easy it is to do with the grant money or the agency fund money, but I think that there's something to be worked out on that. I think the more difficult part with the request that you made was the source of funding. That isn't specified on any accounting report. The other is the people. That isn't specified under an accounting report. That requires some research to go back and actually pull that. Now, there may be a way to tie that in some way, but it would require us to do a somewhat complicated or somewhat more complex system, and certainly something that I'd be willing to have us look into. And the other aspect of it is, I think that while the information can be we can try to work on putting some system together, there is quite a check in place already in terms of the out-of-state travel. Every out-of-state travel request does require, under council policy, a vote. And in fact, each one of these trips did receive a vote of the council, and I think unanimous in every single one. I think it's an interesting question that you raise, and one that we can put together, and I think it's worth tracking moving forward and putting maybe another system like that together. But because they do receive council vote before they're done, that check is already in place. But we can certainly, maybe the auditor wants to weigh in.
I was going to say 95% of police travel. I've been working with the police on this because the hardest thing in this whole project was to confirm the people that went and traveled but didn't have reimbursements, because there's no financial log of that. Okay, there's the vote, but I had to confirm that yes, they in fact did go, not they didn't go to the conference at all, which you'll see in a lot of the instances. With the police department, they do scan all their invoices. What they're going to do now is put a code on there to differentiate the out-of-state travel. So we will still have to go through the whole pack, but we can, by a key code, pull out the out-of-state travel. So moving forward, if in fact whatever you want or need, it'll be easier to do that. DPD keeps good records, there's no issue there, and not that the police don't, they never actually had to, by the way that we're reporting it out. My concern was capturing all the costs, not just the cost of the registration, or the cost of this, or the cost of that. If they put in for a per diem, I wanted to make sure I caught everything. So that's why I had to go through every single reimbursement request.
Thank you. I think that's helpful. I think it's reassuring, certainly to me and to people at home, that we're looking at every single cost. So I can understand you're a little frustrated in the request and the process you had to go through, but I think lesson learned, you identified what has to be done now in the future, because we should be tracking. I mean, whether it's federal money or state or local money, it's still taxpayers' money, and it's good to be able to track it and to identify it. So, and that's good to know from the police, the police department, and I think from their perspective, a lot of the money is used from Law Enforcement Trust Fund. It's also good to know how much of these drug confiscations, how much the money is used for travel, how much used for equipment and things like that. So I do appreciate the report. Thank you.
Councilor Martin?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think the real value here, the check on the abuse, is the council policy itself. And, I found the report interesting and helpful, and certainly have no objection to some modifications to provide them more regularly. But, there was a very specific incident that got a lot of news coverage, where there was a trip that, frankly, council didn't know anything about. And we objected to that and objected to not knowing, and put a policy in place that those trips come here now for approval. And the very fact that they have to come here, I think, weeds out any sort of questionable activity. These are mostly for training purposes. They're mostly very valuable. In some cases, our people are presenters at conferences, which speaks to the quality of the staff we have here in the city. So I think the report shows me, and the fact that all these votes are unanimous generally, shows that the policy is having its intended effect of avoiding any sort of abuse, of travel that's really not necessary and not of benefit to the taxpayers.
Thank you. Councilor Broderick and then Councilor Kennedy.
Thank you. Just briefly on two quick neighborhood issues. I want to thank the manager. I know Mr. Marchand was working with the East Pawtuckaville Neighborhood Group, and you announced that the next manager's neighborhood initiative is going to focus on East Pawtuckaville and the Northwest Acre neighborhoods. Look forward to more information on that, and that's great. Be great improvements in the acre as well. But also, there's a notice of Tanner Street District Economic Development meeting next Monday night at 6 o'clock. For folks that want to attend, that was in our packet. And I know we make announcements at the end of the meeting, but sometimes if it runs late, people might not catch it, and it's great to see that moving along. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Kennedy.
I'm just curious about, you said 95%. Did you mean 95% of all out-of-state travel is the police department? They take it all? Okay, and then, so there's probably plane fare, hotel, and then incident, food and stuff. There's probably three numbers, is it?
Well, registration.
And register, okay. 4 numbers, but do we not track those on a regular basis, or are they lumped in, or what was the I don't really, I guess I don't understand what the difficulty was, and so.
The thing is, it could be charged off to different accounts. The funding comes from different sources, and the fact that all the travel is not segregated by out-of-state or in-state.
Okay.
Okay, we don't have to keep track of it like that. So I had to go through each and every reimbursement request to make sure that I picked up all the costs.
Okay.
It could be, law enforcement trust, the secondary law enforcement trust, could be the regular travel account, could be a grant that doesn't even have a travel line, it's part of the expenses of a grant, so I can't call it up by object code.
Okay. But if there was out-of-state travel or whatever, or in-state travel that the city was picking up, you'd have all of that stuff readily available, right?
Right.
So it's the
But most of
following
it's
the
grants. Most of it's grants, right?
Yes. Okay. All right, thanks.
Thank you. Councilor Elliott.
Thank you. Just one more question on the travel. Councilor Martin is right. I was sitting here, and I actually filed that motion, so we would be able to track the travel. And but I guess my question is on those individuals that have paid hourly, and we're talking about the police, so police officers. How does that work when they're in travel status? Are they getting paid? Do they take? What if it's their day off? I guess they're just getting their salary, right? The officers' salary, and the officers, and there's not a lot. But I just want to know, I guess they're all salary, aren't they? Are they hourly employees? Okay. But they don't have to take vacation time, they don't, they're in travel status doing city business. Okay, thank you.
Councilor Laurie.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. There was one other report that came back. 2 weeks ago, I made a motion, and we talked a little bit about the Home Buyer Incentive Program for institutional programs with the university and at Lowell General and the community college, so on and so forth. And as I read down, right now, a lot of it's in the School Street area on the other side of the river over around Mount Hope Street. If these people buy a home, the help they would get. And but my question is how do we expand this program? I think Mr. Bakey brought up a great question, and that's how do we get this program up and running again, and how do we expand it possibly into other areas of the city?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of the council. The program was actually created as a partnership between the institutions that were participating, one of whom was the city, and the Lowell Plan and Lowell Development Financial Corporation. And I spoke with the folks down at the Lowell Plan and the Lowell Development Financial Corporation, and they are interested, as is the city, in seeing if we can reconvene a meeting of the participating institutions. And really, because it's a creation of their own, there's obviously the opportunity to establish whatever rules or guidelines may make the most sense today that may be different from what made sense in 1998 when it was first created. So we're going to try to get that meeting together in the relatively near future and see what can happen. Fortunately, one of the things we did discover, which I hadn't realized when we were doing the research in response to your motion, is that there actually is a small amount of funding sitting as a balance at the Lowell Development Financial Corporation from the program a while back, even though there hasn't actually been anyone who's used the program for at least the last 2 years, and very few people have used it over the last 7 or 8 years. But the program does indeed still exist as it stands, and that's a good seed, I think, to be able to expand it.
Great, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion on the communications from the city manager for city council motions? Councilor Mendonça.
A motion to accept communication, place on file.
Motion to accept, seconded by Councilor Mercia. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, so voted. At this time, Councilor Mercia has a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I know that at 7 o'clock we're going into public hearings, but if we when we come back, if we could suspend the rules to allow my second motion to come in regarding the DMU zone and the downtown daycare. Unless you want more children in here, we can wait till 10 o'clock. But anyways, so we'll go into...
I second that, though.
Thank you. We'll go into public hearing at 7 o'clock, but after when we come back.
After we'll entertain a
Thank
motion
you.
to suspend. At this point, then, we'll enter into public hearing. A vote to approve the budget for fiscal year 2013. Councilor Mendonça.
Could we table or postpone that until we complete the budget hearings?
Right, yes.
I'll make a motion to
Motion by
postpone.
Councilor Mendonça, seconded by Councilor Laurie. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed? So voted. Next, we have an ordinance to amend Section 266-85, reserved dwelling parking spaces. Motion to waive the full reading by Councilor Noon, seconded by Councilor Mendonça. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed? So voted. Reading by title. In City Council order pursuant to Chapter 266 of the Code of Ordinances, City of Lowell, Massachusetts, concerning Section 266-6, entitled Temporary Experimental Regulations. This is the wrong. In City Council ordinance, an ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances, City of Lowell, Massachusetts, with respect to subsection 266-85, reserved dwelling parking space. This time we'll open it up for those wishing to speak in favor. If you just please give your name and address for the record.
My name's Heidi Miller. I live at 124 Beacon Street. If you are in favor of part of the criteria? Do I come up again and oppose, or should I just state my,
There's also a section just to give general comments. So if you want to.
okay. I feel comfortable with the new rules and regulations, and I think that the subcommittee did a good job, and both subcommittees, actually. When I opposed the first one, I didn't realize we were going to lose what we worked so hard to create, but we lost it and came back with something different. The part that I don't feel is right is the fee. I think it should be more money. I think it should be $20. $10 is a price that was set in 1988. And I feel if you own a car, $10 a year is very minimal, and you're reserving a space on the public street. Your neighbor might need the space more than you and might be willing to pay more than 2 cents a day. So I just feel the fee should be increased. And I'm glad it's going to be renewed because it looked more like a purchase, not a permit. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? In favor? In favor. Seeing none, that portion of the public hearing is closed. Anyone wishing to speak in opposition? In opposition? In opposition. Seeing none, that portion of the public hearing is closed. Anyone wishing to give general comments? General comments? Seeing, excuse me.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, everybody on the council. I just wanted to say...
Excuse me, if you could just
Oh,
state your
Marie
name.
Brown,
Address for
380
the-
Christian Street,
Thank
Lowell,
you.
Mass. I just wanted to say thank you to everybody on the council for the job they did. The first subcommittee we had working with us was in January, and it was Mr. Caulfield, and it was Rita Mercia, and Mr. Broderick. And they worked really hard, and we were really pleased with everything except for one thing. And so we refused it, and then we lost everything that everybody worked for. And the second subcommittee, thank you all. It's been a good experience for me to work a little with the government in our city. So I just wanted to say that, and I'm pleased with the way everything is going. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else who wishes to give general comments? Anyone else? Seeing none, that portion of the public hearing is closed. What's the wish of the council? Move for approval by Councilor Broderick.
Second.
by Councilor Mercia. Roll call, please.
Counselor Mendonça.
Yes.
Counselor Mercia.
Yes.
Mayor Murphy.
Yes.
Counselor Nguyen. Counselor Broderick.
Yes.
Counselor Elliott.
Yes.
Counselor Kennedy.
Yes.
Counselor Laurie.
Yes.
Counselor Martin.
Yes.
9 yeas.
Thank you. Next, we have for endorsement the capital plan. Is there a presentation, Mr. Manager?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We don't, I don't have a full presentation on this. We had a presentation we made to the subcommittee a while back, and I believe we gave all the members of the council a copy of the capital plan. It does provide a blueprint, one that obviously will be modified as time goes on to reflect more immediate needs that may somehow pop up that we're not familiar with, or that circumstances may change that cause us to look at things a little bit differently down the road. But it does also include the fiscal year 2013. We know what needs are out there right now. There's a loan order, I believe, that's next on the public hearings, but it reflects about $4.2 million, $4,020,000 that we see as priority work that needs to be done this year, and that is affordable within the forecast for the general fund that we've done. As debt comes off, we're trying to layer in new levels of debt so that we're continuing to invest in our facilities and our infrastructure. Again, we think that this is a plan worthy of endorsement to move forward, and hopefully we can set up meetings with the council to start to prepare the 2014 capital budget sometime this fall.
Councilor Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I certainly am going to support the next vote for the loan order for the current year, but I would prefer to delay action on endorsing this entire plan. I think actually this would be a good topic for the next full meeting with the city manager, not the regularly scheduled meeting, but one of the special meeting that we're trying to have to talk about things like this for future planning and long-term goals and objectives. You know, just as one example, I think, you know, there's quite a bit in here in the out years for fire stations, and I don't doubt that those improvements are needed. A lot of those buildings are decades and decades old, if not centuries, maybe in a couple of cases. Yet, you know, I think it'd be worthy of discussion, you know, if new facilities are needed, if certain stations could be combined, if a new facility could have a substation for police attached to it, and what the cost of that would be versus the cost of sinking repairs into buildings that are 70, 80, 90 years old. So maybe this is the most cost-effective way to go, but maybe it isn't. And in any event, I don't know, or don't have enough information as I sit here tonight to make that decision. So as to the needs in the current year, I think those have been well explored, certainly studied by subcommittees of the council, jointly with the school committee in some cases, and certainly have no objection to that. But I think, and I agree with the manager that the budget reflects the priorities of the council, and I think this capital plan should do that as well. And I'm not saying it doesn't do that, but I don't think it does yet. I don't think the council spent enough time with this, and so that's a suggestion that I would offer. Instead of taking a vote on this, that we bring that up for discussion at our next meeting with the city manager.
Councilor Mercia.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I completely, wholeheartedly agree with Councilor Martin. I wasn't planning on endorsing the whole package because it isn't just about 2013. It goes up to 2017. I can support and endorse what I have before me for the fiscal year 2013, but not in advance. So I would second Councilor Martin's motion because he said it so eloquently, and that made sense to me. Thank you.
So in the form of a motion?
Yeah, to move to schedule this, when would be I think in October, perhaps, the next meeting with the city manager, right? Is that
Right.
the schedule? Whatever the next one is.
Sure. Motion by Councilor Martin, second by Councilor Mercia. Councilor Kennedy.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, just so that I can understand, is this public hearing on this?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so are we postponing the whole public hearing?
We can do that.
Well, I mean, we didn't have the public hearing yet, right?
Correct.
So I guess it's just a matter of procedure. Are we having the public hearing and then going to postpone it, or are we just going to postpone the public hearing, or how are we going to proceed?
Councilor Martin.
Well, was this advertised as a public hearing?
It was.
I'm not aware that it was. I read the legal notices now a lot more closely than maybe I did a short time ago. And I'm not sure it's necessary, quite frankly. So, you know, if it's necessary to open the hearing and hear from interested parties and postpone, then let's just do that. But I don't think it was necessary to be advertised as a public hearing. I don't think it was. And, you know, frankly, I guess this is just more a vote of confidence than anything else, because we'd always have to come back and vote the loan orders associated with this. And those are the things that would go to the public hearing. So, so whatever procedural niceties are required to do this the proper way, I don't object to.
Mr. Clerk?
I believe we should open and postpone it to the appropriate
Fair
date.
enough, okay.
Okay. At this time, then, we'll open it for a public hearing for those wishing to speak in favor of the capital plan. In favor.
Mr. Mayor, members of the Lowell City Council, Mr. Manager, members of the staff, ladies and gentlemen. For the record, my name is Mark Owen, 58 Oakland Street. I believe that the City Council should take a hard look at this capital plan. It is a 5-year plan. But the loan order only goes for this fiscal year. The next 4 years out, you will be doing the same thing. I think it's important to look at this document. It is a document that is very, very important because a lot of things need to be replaced. Roofs, various other things in different buildings, vehicles in the various departments are in very bad condition as outlined in this document. And I urge that the council really approve this as a concept, if that's the right way to do it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? In favor? In favor. Seeing none, that portion of the public hearing is closed. Anyone wishing to speak in opposition? In opposition? In opposition. Seeing none, that portion of the public hearing is closed. Anyone wishing to make general comments? General comments? Seeing none, that portion of the public hearing is closed. We have a motion on the floor by
To
Councilor-
delay action until the conclusion of the next meeting with the city manager in October.
Right.
Seconded by Councilor Mercia. Any discussion?
Just briefly on the motion, I'd just like to commend the city manager on the capital plan. I think he did a good job, and he should be commended for that.
Thank you, Council.
Thank you. Councilor Martin?
Yeah, and I don't mean to suggest that it isn't an appropriate job, but I think, you know, this is worthy of full discussion among the council to see if this is the best way to do this.
Thank you. Councilor Laurie?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I concur with Councilor Martin. I think it was a great job by the manager and Councilor Kennedy's, as they have said. We do meet in October. Can we have any updated information? That's the only request I have. There'll be changes in the next few months, and if we could be kept abreast. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Mendonça?
I certainly believe we're moving in the right direction. We have to have capital spending in our budget every year. Then the question becomes, what's the priority? What needs to be done this year versus in the future? So I see this as a very good plan. And of course, any year beyond this year will evolve as each year comes up. The spending plan for that, there might be another crisis that comes up or some emergency comes up in a particular building that bumps it up above some of the others. So it will evolve, but at least we have a plan. We know what's in the future, and we can deal with it now, planning ahead and understanding what to expect. So, thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Kennedy?
The only thing in delaying it till October, that, you know, there's a good chunk of this on the front. I mean, the vehicles and so forth, I guess, can wait, but there's a lot that has to do with school departments. And we've just spent a good amount of time on that issue. And so, I guess I intend to support the motion, but if the administration thought there was stuff that could be done, you know, right away, that if you came back with maybe part of it for approval, if that's required, then it'd be good to do that. Although this is incorporated in the budget too, isn't it?
The fiscal year 2013, which is in the plan that I believe we'll take up in the next loan order, the debt service associated with that is projected to carry over it's projected to carry over to 2014. So nothing in this affects the 2013 budget.
Okay.
So, but you're correct, it does affect 14, and it will require a modification. I think I was making that, I thought I made that point, but I perhaps didn't do that as directly as I should have. And it just, the idea of endorsement is exactly what we're hearing, is that we're on the right track with this plan.
Councilor Martin.
And it's not my intent, and I don't think by delaying action that we're going to not do the things that are in here for the first year. Right? I think those are covered by the next vote.
Okay.
So we have a motion on the floor. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? So voted. Next, we have in-city council loan order capital improvement bonds to borrow $4,240,000 for the purpose of financing various capital improvements and any related architectural and engineering services connection therewith and any costs incidental and related thereto. Is ordered by the City Council of the City of Lowell by a 2/3 vote as follows. Ordered that the sum of $4,240,000 is appropriated for the purpose of financing the following capital improvements and any related architectural and engineering services in connection therewith and any costs incidental and related thereto. 1. City Hall window replacement. 2. Paving, sidewalks, and curbing at various locations. 3. Traffic signalization. 4. Roof replacement at the High Street Fire Station, the West 6th Street Fire Station, and the Daily School Library. 5. City Hall generator replacement. 6. Water heater replacement at the Butler and Robinson schools. 7. Compressor replacement at the Pine School. 8. Roof and skylight replacement at the Greenhalghs and McAvenue schools. 9. Door replacement at the Robinson School. 10. Drinking fountain replacement at various schools. 11. Bathroom plumbing replacement at the Riley School. 12. Bathroom partition replacement at various schools. 13. Replacing the carpet with tile flooring at various schools. 14. HVAC equipment replacement at various schools. And 15. Vehicle replacement. That to meet this appropriation, the treasurer, with the approval of the city manager, is authorized to borrow $4,240,000 and issue bonds or notes therefore under Mass General Laws, Chapter 44, or any other enabling authority, that the city manager is authorized to contract for and expend any federal or state aid available for those projects, that the city manager is authorized to take any action necessary to carry out the projects, and that the treasurer is authorized to file an application with the Municipal Finance Oversight Board to qualify any or all of those bonds under Mass General Laws, Chapter 44A, and to provide such information and execute such documents as such board may require for these purposes. Order recommended and introduced by Bernard F. Lynch. Second reading by title in City Council order, capital improvement bonds to borrow $4,240,000 for the purpose of financing various capital improvements and any related architectural and engineering services in connection therewith and any costs incidental and related thereto. At this point, we'll open it up for a public hearing for those wishing to speak in favor.
Mr. Mayor, members of the Lowell City Council, Mr. Manager, staff. My name, for the record, is Mark Goldman, 58 Oakland Street, Lowell, Mass. I wish to be recorded in favor of this loan order. It is the first step, as I said a few minutes ago, in a capital improvement plan that is very needed here in the city of Lowell, and I urge the City Council to unanimously adopt it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? In favor? In favor, seeing none, that portion of the public hearing is closed. Anyone wishing to speak in opposition? In opposition? In opposition, seeing none, that portion of the public hearing is closed. Anyone wishing to make general comments? General comments? Seeing none, that portion of the public hearing is closed. Which wish of the council? Councilman Mendonça.
Move approval.
Second.
Approval by Councilman Mendonça, seconded by Councilor Broderick. Roll call, please. Excuse me, Councilor Elliott.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you to the manager, Mr. Moses. What is the debt service on this loan order? Is it a 20-year, 30-year?
The building portion is 20-year. The vehicle portion will depend on the life of the vehicle, but that's a very minor part of this.
And what is the debt service on that? What will it be for 20 years?
It's approximately, we're guessing at interest rates here, but it's approximately $400,000 a year.
Okay, so as I look at the debt schedule, what is coming off our debt schedule next year? Or is this going to be in addition to?
This would be in addition. There's, on the, I can look at the budget, there are several debt issues, mostly school issues that are coming off in 2014 and 2015.
Right, and are those all of those all those debt issues are SBA reimbursement?
I don't think all of the ones that are coming off. I'll take a look at it right now. We have about 100 of them, so I don't have them memorized. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I do see the landfill closing, that it matures this year of $377,900 or $378,000. Is that correct? Does that mean that's the last payment on the capping of that landfill?
Yeah, the maturity is the last payment. So for example, that top refunding, that's almost $2 million of debt service, $1.5 million that we won't have next year because it's maturing in 2014.
2014.
And landfill, right, that last payment is in a couple of months, and that's almost $400,000. So, and that's not MSBA supported.
Right.
So there's quite a few pieces that are falling off.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Those are my two questions.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Councilor Mendonça? Roll call, please.
Councilor Mendonça.
Yes.
Councilor Mercia.
Yes.
Mayor Murphy.
Yes.
Councilor Nguyen.
Yes.
Councilor Broderick.
Yes.
Councilor Elliott.
Yes.
Councilor Kennedy.
Yes.
Councilor Laurie.
Yes.
Councilor Martin.
Yes.
9 yeas.
Thank you. Next, we'd entertain a motion to suspend the rules, to take out of order Councilor Mercy's motion.
To take it, motion number 2 for the daycare in the downtown.
Motion by Councilor Mercia, seconded by Councilor Noon. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? So voted. Motion by Councilor Mercia, request the city manager find ways and means to allow an additional discretionary time period with ample warning on city bills before demand fee is in place. Excuse me. Oh, this is item number 19. Councilor Mercia, request the city look into allowing family daycare in the downtown and amend the zoning to allow family daycare as an accessory use in the DMU zoning district. Seconded by Councilor Noon. Councilor Mercia.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think protocol dictates that those are registered to speak before the motion.
I don't believe there are any registered on this matter, Councilor.
We're under suspension,
Under
so they
suspension
can
of the
speak.
rules.
Corey, if you could state your name and address for the record, please.
It's Corey Pasternak and 30 Market Street, Lowell.
Okay, go ahead, Dallin.
Sorry, I'm nervous. I am a young mother, and this is my son Ezra, and I'm sorry that he's causing a bit of a stir, but childcare is kind of difficult in Lowell these days, so I had to bring him. I'm here because my daycare provider was told that she could no longer provide her services to my son. And that was really hard for me to deal with because it's very hard for me to go to work every day and leave my son. And knowing that he's with somebody who really loves him and really takes good care of him is very important to me. So the threat of that being taken away is really scary, and it makes me think that maybe Lowell isn't the place for me. Maybe Lowell isn't the place for families after all. Maybe I should move to Westford like all my friends who start having kids. We have another child on the way, and not knowing what the daycare situation is going to be is very frightening. So I really hope that you guys are open-minded about this situation and try to pursue some sort of resolution.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak on the motion? If you just please state your name and address for the record.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, and good evening, City Councilors. My name is Mark Middleton, and I'm here to speak in support of this motion. I'd like to, I'm sorry, I live at 172 Middle Street in the downtown district, which is zoned DMU, Downtown Mixed Use District. I'd like to mention to the city councilors and everyone here in attendance, there are numerous people here that are in support of this, that currently in the urban zoning district, there are 4 sub-districts, USF, UMF, UMU, and the Downtown Mixed Use District. Every one of those sub-districts within the urban district currently allows small family-based daycare, except for the Downtown Mixed Use District. Now, I'd like to also mention that cities and neighborhoods change and grow just like families grow. The city is trying to attract families to move in the downtown and has been to a considerable extent. This is my son, Nicholas. Has been to a considerable extent been very successful in doing that. I myself, along with my wife, we have 3 kids, Matthew, who's 11, we have Bella, who's 2, and Nicholas, who just turned 5 yesterday. Now, also in the zoning district, there is no definition of family-based daycare small. There is no definition of family-based daycare large. What we propose is to not only allow it in the small district, the small family-based daycare in the downtown urban mixed-use district, but also define what that is in fairness to neighbors that do live in these downtown condominiums. And that would be approximately 6 children or less, less than 12 years of age, to be available to have care by providers in their home during normal business hours, not overnight or not extended care. So we'd like to wrap up and say that it is important. Article 13, again, currently allows small family-based daycare in 3 of the 4 sub-districts. We just think that it was perhaps an oversight, or at the time when the zoning was created and talked about, quite frankly, a lot of these buildings in the downtown neighborhood were dilapidated, abandoned buildings, but now they're beautiful condominiums with families that are growing and with children. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak on the motion? Anyone else wishing to speak on the motion?
There's one more person.
Yeah, this is, we have a letter of support from the Child Development and Education Incorporated, and I'll just read their statement on their behalf. Dear Mr. Johnson and City Councilors, Child Development and Education, Inc. is a statewide family child care and education system dedicated to helping families access the very best early care and education services for children. CDEI's network of 900 independent contractor family child care providers are licensed by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Department of Early Education and Care, follow strict Commonwealth of Massachusetts regulations, and are supported by the CDEI's team of experienced child care and education coordinators who visit each provider multiple times a month. We encourage the availability of safe, quality, and licensed daycare. It has come to our attention that the City of Lowell mixed-use zoning subdistrict currently does not permit small family-based daycare, which does not make sense to us since the other 3 zoning subdistricts in the urban zoning district allow small family-based daycare. Therefore, CDEI supports the proposed amendment of Article 13, Table of Accessory Uses, to allow small family-based daycare in the urban downtown mixed-use district. This proposed amendment would make the City of Lowell downtown neighborhood more child and family-friendly and would be a plus for the city. If you have any questions, please contact me. That's Yasmin Ruiz, the director. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Mercy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. If I could have that letter and submit it as part of the record, please. First of all, I'd like to thank the parents and the children, and happy birthday to that young man who turned whatever age he was, but 5 yesterday. That's great. And they were very well behaved. Now that we're all speaking, they're very, very quiet. They're amazing. And thank you for coming out of your way. It's not easy to speak in public. This is a very important motion. When we think about the makeup of the downtown, we think of that area that's set aside, and there are a lot of businesses there. But then we realize that the downtown is filled with residents. And at one point in time, we knew that the downtown had many seniors that lived at Father John's, Market Mills, the Shattuck Street complex, the high-rise over the Bank North, etc. But now the downtown is filled with a new group of residents, the young professional business workers, and then comes their youngsters. They are the new breed of the residents, the young families that are moving into the downtown. With families come services, and one in particular service is daycare. I honestly feel that daycare is a good option for people to take part in, especially in close proximity to one's dwelling. However, because of the DMU zone, downtown mixed-use zone, daycare is not an allowable accessory use in this zone. I feel, as many others do, that the zoning should be changed to suit the ever-growing needs of the new residents in the downtown area. We should never hear from residents that come before us and say, gee, maybe I should move to Westford. No, you should not. You should stay right here. We're going to do all we can to try to make it good for you. People need to work, and in order to work, if you have children, you need to rely on someone that you know and trust. If that reliable person happens to be in the downtown, in your neighborhood, in your area, this zoning stops that from happening, and that to me is a shame. This motion would be the start to correct this outdated situation. Let's get with the times, let's work together so people can work. And having said that, I just want to make one note, because I know that if you have a particular condo complex downtown, they could institute their own policies and say that we don't want daycare here. Even if we change the zoning, they could prevent that. Condo associations are exempt from these type of things. But I think it's very, very important that we change the downtown zoning. Having said that, condos can say, even though the zoning was changed, our policy is no daycare here, so you do understand that. But I think your motion is important enough that we should, and this council should support that change. I know I spoke with Adam Bakey. He believes that as well. We'll refer my motion to the city manager, who in turn will work with Adam Bakey, and I'm sure that this will happen. We don't want you to move to Westford. We want you to stay right here with your families, okay? Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Broderick.
Thank you. I think this is a great motion, and I think this can be a win-win. Fill a need and also help start a business or two. So I think it's a great motion, timely, and it's another piece of the success in downtown. So I think it's ripe, and thank you for bringing it in.
Thank you. Councilor Laurie.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I concur with Councilor Broderick. This is a great motion, and I commend Councilor Mauricio for bringing it forward. I've said for many years, I've said it here on the council floor, that the city has never adapted to the changing downtown with the zoning. We see it all the time, and neighborhoods live and breathe. They're like people, and it's a great motion. And Councilor Mauricio is right. The condominium associations could say no, but I think it's up to the city to at least offer this. As one young mother said, when it comes to daycare, it's not just location, it's a comfort level for the family where they want to go. And if that comfort level is downtown, then I think we should approve this motion. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? So voted. I think it makes sense at this point, while we're still under suspension of the rules. We have 2 people that registered to speak on Councilor Mercy's other motion Request the city manager find ways and means to allow an additional discretionary time period with ample warning on city bills before a demand fee is in place. Seconded by Councilor Mendonça. Councilor Mercia.
I believe there is someone here registered to speak. Johanna.
Johanna Dulames?
Good evening. My name is Johanna Delamis. I live at 42 Litchfield Terrace in Lowell. I'm here today to tell you my experience when I came in to pay my real estate tax bill. On May 18th, after returning from a family vacation trip to Florida, I came in and to pay my tax bill that was due on May 1st. The bill that I had in hand was $632. I had anticipated that there was going to be interest, so I wrote the check out for $630. I handed it to the clerk. The clerk said, "You still owe me $4.34. And I said, "Oh, no. I wrote the check out for more than what my bill is." He said, "No, you still owe me $4.34. So I was confused, and I kept on saying, but why is it so much? I don't understand. And after going back and forth, I said to him, "It's that much in interest?" And he said, just looked at me, and I said, "Why is my bill so high?" And he said, "Oh, you have a demand fee." I said, "A demand fee? I never received any bill saying I had a demand fee." And I said, "When did that go on?" He said, "Today." So I said, "Today, who put that on?" And I said, "Did you put that on?" "No." I said, "What exactly is your policy on demand fees?" And he said, "Massachusetts general law states that if you don't pay your bill on the 1st, we can put a demand fee." "Okay, so what is your policy on a demand fee? Exactly when does it go in place? Do you have a certain time frame that if you don't, does everybody get a demand fee on the 1st? Is it discretionary? How do you determine who gets a demand fee?" After going back and forth, I said, "Who put it on?" And he said, "The treasurer." I said, "Okay, I'd like to speak with the treasurer." Treasurer came over, and I said, "Exactly what is your policy on demand fees?" She, again, stated, "Massachusetts general law states if you don't pay it on the 1st, you can get a demand fee." Again, I stated to her, "I never received any bill in the mail, and how do you determine who gets a demand fee? Is it discretionary? What is your policy? I'd like to see it." And I said to her, this has never happened to me before. And she said, "Well, there's a new treasurer in town." That was her response to me. So I felt it was highly inappropriate. She said, "A bill will be going out to you today." So I walk in to pay my real estate tax bill, and I get a demand fee. I said, "Did everybody get a demand fee on May 18th? And she hesitated and said, "Yes." So that is my concern. I feel it's highly inappropriate, and I guess I've stated all I needed to state. I'll leave it in your hands. Thank you.
Laurie Arsenault?
Lori Arsenault, my address is 189 D Street Circle. I understand exactly what this woman that just spoke went through. I just want to thank you for letting me address you on this matter. This matter took me quite a bit of time to even come before you because of the total runaround of me asking questions and getting inappropriate and completely wrong answers about the demand fee. I'd like to tell you, I received a second fourth quarter tax bill mid-May, and I was surprised to see that I was charged an additional $34, of which $30 was a demand fee. I called the treasurer's office and was told I couldn't appeal it. I was also told that the city of Lowell did not have to make me aware that I had a $4 balance, that there were hundreds of people that had small balances, and they couldn't send out another bill saying, "Oh, you still owe us a little amount," because it wouldn't be fiscally sound. I also was told rather rudely that I better pay the bill by June 1st or I would receive more fees. So then when I came into the office, I was trying to ask more questions about where does this demand fee come from, who authorized it. If I'm going to complain about it, I obviously want to complain to the right people. And I was treated very badly, and I never got the information. I called the city manager's office to try to get some more information about the demand fee and was told that I was one of dozens of people who had called and vented their frustrations concerning this matter. However, the information that was given out by the woman outside of the city manager's office is that it is not the city of Lowell that puts this demand fee on, it is the state. And that if I want to complain about it, I need to call my state representative, which I did, and was told that that information is not true. And so then I was told to call the Department of Revenue and select municipal and finance laws, which again I was told that it was the city of Lowell that put the demand fee on and that the state had nothing to do with it. So after that, I came down and I went to the city mayor's office, where I finally received some correct information, and I was told how to go about bringing my concern to you. I understand the reason that the council chose the highest possible demand fee was for it to be a deterrent. But how can it be a deterrent when no one knows that they're going to get the demand fee? It's not like there is a warning that if you don't pay it, you're going to get the $30 demand fee. When there's a late fee imposed by a bank or a company that I owe money to, after it's spelled out, it says, after a specific date, this will be your penalty. The city of Lowell does not collect a demand fee on any tax bill except for the fourth quarter. If the bill is paid late on any other quarter, there's only interest added. On the fourth quarter bill, not only does it not state that there will be a demand fee of $30, but it doesn't even give a date that shows when the balance has to be paid for. Before the $30 fee is enforced. And I question whether this is even legal. However, at the very least, it is unethical and makes the taxpayers who fall into that situation angry. I only owed $4, and I was required to pay $34. It's a bad consumer relation policy. I am not questioning the right of the city of Lowell to have a demand fee, only the procedure by which it's carried out. A demand of $30 for a balance of $4 is very excessive. Every bill that could incur a late fee needs to have the amount of the fee and the date that it will be added to the total due made very clear. It needs to be printed on the bill. I thank you for your time.
Thank you. Councilor Mercy?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This perennial question comes up all the time when unsuspecting residents who never seem to get in any trouble get caught in a situation that almost makes them out to be criminals. These people were treated like criminals. I know that on any of our bills in relatively small print warns the public that the bill is due on a certain date, and if it is not paid, then a 14% late charge will be added to the bills. I wonder how many people actually see or even know that this is on their bill. I don't read the fine print. I'm certainly sure most people don't either. And what if the bill, for example, comes in on the 1st of May and needs to be paid by the 18th, and someone is on vacation during those weeks and pays it as soon as they get back, and they are a day late? Now we inflict a demand fee of $30 or $35, whatever that demand fee is, to people who have diligently paid their bills on time for 40 or 50 years, and because of this one time that they happen, God forbid, to be on vacation, we're now treating them like common criminals for being a day or two late. This is preposterous. That's why I say, is there any discretionary leniency? I feel that we need to make it more clearer. If it's on the bill and people don't see it, a warning should be sent out again, and this time it states that you missed the cutoff date. No fee shall be applied if you pay it by such and such a date, but let this notice be a warning that we will not be giving you a second chance. I believe in giving people a second chance. Now I feel better that at least if I'm going to give you the demand, we did give you a chance to pay without a threat of making you feel like you're trying to cheat the city out of money, which they're not trying to do that. These are decent people, and we're treating them like this. Could we start the process to correct this perennial thing from happening, could we establish a new policy? Could we have any leniency down there in the treasurer's office? I know many years ago we did. And I do take exception with the city treasurer stating to a resident, when the resident pleads for clemency, the treasurer stated, not from me, but from, you heard what the lady said, no help is available. There's a new treasurer in town, and that's me. Well, it's like saying there's a new sheriff in town. I don't like that connotation. I don't like that wording. I didn't make it up. The lady said it. She was very upset telling me this. That's a nice comment to offer a person who has maintained a clean record of payment for over 40 years and one time, because of a vacation, was late one day. Oh my God, is that a delinquent taxpayer that owes thousands and thousands of dollars? I think not. This is not Dodge City. I guess we do not have compassion when it comes to collecting money. I'd rather get something than nothing at all. My suggestion would be to use this tactic on the real tax dodgers who haven't paid their fair share in years. Learn to know the difference between tax evading, between a criminal and the good tax-paying people that are a day or two late. There's a discretionary, but my question is there a discretionary period of time in which a city can decide to waive the demand fee? Is the interest demand at the discretion of the city? If it is, then let's be a little bit more lenient. Then if so, why didn't we not institute that in this case, if there is such a thing? Now, a woman called me up. The woman is not here. It wasn't that last woman that spoke, but it was another tax-paying person. She called and she said that when she paid her taxes, she wrote the wrong amount. Evidently, she made out a check to the city hall, and like me, sometimes I write things and I don't have my glasses on. What I thought the price was actually probably wasn't. She, like the last lady, owed $3.23. She thought she read the right amount, but she was mistaken. She received a notice to make the correction of $3.23, and then she was whacked with the demand fee for $30. Does this make any sense to any of us here? Where is the gray area? And this is the gist of that motion, and I've asked it time and time again. Can we not use a little discretion and try to be accommodating to people who, through no fault of their own? Next time, she should have wore her glasses, but she didn't. Gee whiz, this is bizarre, and this is the gist of this motion. Mr. Manager, please have a little compassion for people. They probably have things on their mind. Their mother is probably dying. The kid is probably in the hospital in an operation. We don't know what goes on through people's minds. Because everything's straightened out in our life doesn't mean that their day-to-day trials are, not as clear as ours. And so I wish we could just be a little bit more compassionate to the very people that are paying all of our salary sitting here. Because I'm sitting here because they pay my way. And I'm trying to help them out because I can sympathize with it. It could have happened to anybody here. Gee, let's not just ram them for a dollar, for God's sakes. And I mean, I want to make money too for the city, but not on the backs of people that have been good people paying their bills on time for 40 and 50 years. That's the gist of this motion. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Noon?
I too received a number of calls with regard to the demand letter. This week, there's a young man came to your office, Mayor. He received a demand noted on his excise tax. He's probably just bought a car, young man. He's got paid $80 an hour. The demand fee, $30, basically, practically half of his payday. I think there's a good reason for council to, when they vote to have those demand fee, there's to deter people from paying late and to deter people from not paying. I understand that the raise is from 5 to 30. That is the maximum demand fee one city can take from a late pay on excise taxes or whatnot. But I guess the right things to do is we need to have some discretion. Councilor Mosier indicated that, rightfully so, that we need to look at the history of that taxpayer or car owners. If there has been a habitual, if they are habitual, late payer, then just snap them, hit them with $30. I'm fine with that. But if you have a young man who just falsely owned car and either he didn't receive the first note and then got the demand letter, maybe if we can show some compassion, as using Councilor Mosier's word for it, should be some. We need to give the treasurer office, because I think thus far they haven't done it because they probably not directed to give any discretion. They have no discretion. They can't do it, and that's why they probably say you need to pay this, and they just do their job basically. I understand that. But if the direction comes from the managers, and if this council were to feel that we should have some leniency, that would be great. That would be great for all the taxpayers. It would be great for all the citizens. And I'm not saying that to give discretion to everyone. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying case-by-case basis. Thank you, Councilor Rita Musi.
Councilor Broderick, and then
Thank you,
Councilor Kennedy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This has come up in the past, and once again, I guess I'll be maybe the skunk of the lawn party here. I can't see really how I could support a discretionary system. Other people would consider that a favoritism, and what is the discretion? If someone only has one late fee, or one demand in 1 year, or 5 years, or 3 years, and who makes the call? And we hear stories all the time. The situations that came before us tonight are very unfortunate, and the system's not perfect, but I do expect them to be professional in their response, Mr. Manager. But I would, and I don't know if the state law allows this. Do they allow us to have discretion and decide if one person is going to get one but another's not? I don't know, that's a question for maybe if we get a report on this, but I don't know if we can retain discretionary power to impose demand fees, and who, and decide who's going to get them and who's not going to. Number one, that would be my first question. I also have I guess an issue with how that would be implemented, and how many people are going to come before us that said this was only their second, they know someone that had 4, that it was waived, and we open up a can of worms. I think one thing, and I don't know if we can do this either, but if we're going to have this discussion, I'll throw it out there. Can our demand fee be a sliding scale? An $80, or $3, or $30 late bill, to throw $30 on top of it, a 50% increase or a 40% increase or whatever it is, does seem excessive. If there's a way to do that, I don't know. Or maybe we revisit the whole thing, but I can't necessarily see how I would support a discretionary implementation of demand fees. But I'd be open to find out, first of all, if it's legal. Number two, how we would do it. But more so, is there some type of sliding scale that we could implement for these demand fees? Someone that owes $1,000 and gets hit for $30, that could be considered a cheap loan. Let's face it, that's what happens. People that want to float money, they're going to pay something else and not pay this. That's not the case that was, the people before us tonight, but that's, the difficulty the city's faced with. We want to run it like a business. We want to automate. We want to decrease our expenses. We want to run more efficiently. Then, this will happen, or we're going to have to make decisions. If we want to start staffing departments and having people sitting down and reviewing claims and these types of things, then that's maybe a different process and a different expense as well. So I think we just have to be aware of that. These situations here, I mean, it's difficult to have this discussion when you hear when you hear the stories we did tonight. But I think as a general rule, I think we will run into some real problems if we don't stick to some automated process that you know, like we've implemented. I mean, we've been working towards this to operate like a business. We have to know what we're going to receive and when we're going to get it. But I do sympathize and I do understand that there are issues of mistake, and you know, I'd be interested to see what other alternatives we could have. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Kennedy?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. You know, Mr. Mayor, on something like this, I mean, some of these fees and so forth are dictated, I think, by state law, and so maybe there's nothing that can be done about it. I'm not really sure, but I think that when $4 is owed and the fine is $30, then the issue becomes distorted, and it doesn't really make sense at that point. And so if there is a way for small amounts of money, if there would be a way to reduce that, I think that would be something that we would want to do down there. I'm a little bit concerned by the treasurer's remark to the person. I know that I've read in this budget that sometimes the people are referred to, the people who live in this city are referred to as customers. But they're not really customers. They are the citizens that live here. And the people who work here provide services for them. They're way more than just customers. And the people that come in to pay their bills deserve some consideration. If there's a way that we could have a smaller amount for amounts, say, below $50, that would make a lot of sense to me. And while we're on this issue, I happen to have a friend who attempted to pay his FY 2013 tax bill this month, and he was turned away by the treasurers. Now, I don't have a lot of friends that pay their real estate taxes up front or a year ahead like that, but I have one. But anyways, he was not able to because we're still in this fiscal year, and I guess there's no way in the system for people to do that. So he's got to wait. So I asked if he was going to pay it on July 1, and he didn't really give me an answer on that. But anyways, it would seem to me that people should be able to pay up front, and the city should want people to pay up front if they want to do that. I don't imagine that there's a big crowd of those people, but there might be some people who are in that, besides my friend that would be in that situation. Anyways, you know, back on this, if we could change that fee around for small amounts, I think that's something that we want to do. If we can do something for these two people who've taken the time to come down here and sit for a couple of hours to plead their case, I think that's something that that we'd like to do. Maybe Mr. Marchand could take that up, and maybe there is room for, you know, for a little grace for those two people. But anyways, that's where I understand. I think it's a thin line between discretion and favoritism, so you don't want to go too far into that. But certainly with small amounts of money where the whole issue gets distorted, if we can correct that, I think that would be a good thing.
Thank you. Councilor Laurie and then Councilor Mendonça.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm glad Councilor Mercier brought this forward. As I read it, the problem I have is the word discretionary. Especially in government. It's hard sitting here listening to two speakers come in and getting charged the fee. What would have been tougher is if speaker number one, there was someone used their discretionary powers and you didn't pay the fee, but you had to. So that's why I don't like the word discretionary. There's policies in place. But I think this motion coming forward is good because I think it's something we have to look at. Maybe there is a way we could look at the fee structure and by the amount or by the date that it's late. But as this comes forward with that word, that would be like we're in the process now of packaging the mortgages. Well, do I take Councilor Kennedy's mortgage out and don't package his and give him a free ride? And this is the problem I see in government. You do have rules, you do have regulations, but I think it's a great motion because I think if it's something we can look at down the line, it's time to look at it. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Mendonça.
I do have a problem with being called discretionary. I don't think that's the intent so much as the fairness of it. And I do believe it needs to be addressed. It needs to be clear in the original bill, the dates that other fees can be applied and interest begins accruing. And there should be a policy in place that someone who has paid their bill and inadvertently didn't pay a small piece of it, that the policy should have, if it's legal at all, that if the amount of balance remaining is less than the demand fee, it doesn't make sense to apply it in that case, but it needs to be transparent. It needs to be clear when that's going to happen and to whom it's going to happen to, so that there's no question about when it applies. But at the same time, if possible, we should have a policy in the office, administrative, maybe council if need be, that there's a certain threshold where the fee is applied, and until then, they have made an attempt to pay the bill, and probably in the next quarterly bill, they would pay it knowing that they owe that balance. So I just think that piece needs to be addressed. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Mercia.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you to the city manager. Mr. Manager, is there an interest demand? Is that at the discretion of the city or not? The demand fee, is it?
First of all, we're talking about two different things. Interest is statutory. It's applied from the first day after it's due, and there is no discretion. The demand fee, the actual amount of the fee is set by the city as a local option, and the city chose a $30 demand fee. Application of that fee is not discretionary. When it occurs is open in the statute. As long as a bill is delinquent, a demand can be added, but usually you add the demand fee to all bills that are delinquent at that time. There are some other discretionary options that I know of that I'd like a little time to put in a written response, because I think some of them will go to address your concerns, and I just want to make sure that I'm precise in my wording, and I'd rather put it in writing than have you misinterpret it here.
Okay, and my last comment on this issue is, we may be referring these people that come in and pay their bills as customers, but I'm referring them to them as an employer, because I work for them. They are my employer. And they come in here and they try to make an attempt to pay a bill, and they shouldn't be treated shabbily or with disrespect, because we work for them. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Laurie.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. One other question I do have, and it comes after listening to Council Mercia. Do we have a way that someone could actually file an abatement for the bill, or file to have it overruled? Is there any way, there's like a little system we have?
There's a system for real estate tax and personal property tax, and it's within 30 days of the assessment date, January 1st. There is no abatement for motor vehicle excise tax, because that tax is a formula that is by state.
Yeah, I knew that was it. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any, Councilor Elliott.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's disheartening to hear that first woman that came to the podium utter the words that there's a new treasurer in town, Mr. Manager. I don't like a long life Llewellyn paying her taxes year after year being told something like that. And there's no reason to think, why would she come up here and say that? Sometimes, as Council Mercy said, people have so many things going on in their life, there's an oversight. We should be welcoming them. They're coming down, they're paying their taxes. We're not chasing them. But that's an attitude that has to be corrected. And I hope it will be, because that's not the message that we should be sending people in the city. That's, to me, intimidation, and shouldn't be, it's not acceptable. I have, I guess Mr. Moses answered my question, but it was, I did want to make that statement, because that's not what we want to hear from people living in the city. Thank you.
Any further discussion on the motion? Well, excuse me.
The only thing that I wanted to clarify was it kind of changed to whether it's discretionary, and I'm not saying that it should necessarily be discretionary. What I'm saying is, had I known that I was going to get a demand fee, I would have been down here by the unknown date and had paid the $4 that I owed. But I wasn't aware, and I'm pretty sure it's not clear on the bill that by a certain date, you get that $30 demand fee. So I really feel that if the city is going to stick with it, and you're going to say, no, we can't be discretionary, you need to be very clear about, on this day, if you come down and you pay your bill on this day or after, you will get a $30 demand fee. And it does not say that on the bill. And I feel that that should be very clear. My mortgage payment says if I pay it on the 15th or after, I'm going to get a late fee. And I'm very aware of that, and I feel the city needs to make that very clear also. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Kennedy.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, through you to Mr. Moses. So you're going to give us a report on this? And so with that report, will you include putting some, whether or not we can put something on the bill, and also maybe solutions to their problems or problems like this, whether or not there's, we can have a smaller amount if it's a small amount owed, or maybe some kind of appeal process or something if it's less than $20 or whatever, but, something like that. So we'll get a report like that? Okay.
Thank you. Councilor Martin?
Thank you. I don't want to pile on, because I'm the only one who hasn't spoken here, but I guess 2 points. One is the system works pretty well for parking tickets, I think. You get a parking, it's a little different because it's always a set amount maybe, but if you get a $15 ticket and you don't pay it, a notice goes out in the mail that now it's $20, and if that doesn't get paid by a certain day, it gets referred to the collection agency, and there's it's not a demand fee, but there's an additional fee for that. So there's a sliding scale where it goes from 15 to 20 to like 45 or something, and there are notices that go in the mail. So it is possible to do it in that system. It might be helpful to look at that system in evaluating this problem. And there is an element of fairness to other taxpayers who pay on time. And it's, if it's somebody who's delinquent $1,000, $2,000, it's not fair to the people that religiously pay on time, like these folks that were here tonight. So that's the reason for the fee, and there's probably a valid policy reason, but, we don't want to be a credit card company, where you're a day late or a half an hour late and you get hit with a, $29, $35, $40 fee. So let's see if there's something that we can do to improve this.
Thank you.
Hi, I just want to state, I feel as though maybe I was misunderstood, because I'm not looking for it to be discretionary by any means. That was my point. I wanted it to be clear that there was a warning notice that if I didn't pay by this time, and for me and for everybody else that resides in the city, that you have 21 days, and if you don't pay it by this date, you'll be charged a demand fee. And that was my point. I don't think that we can be discretionary. I think what's good for one is good for all, that there should be a warning notice. There's no warning notice. It just says an interest charge, and that if on the 18th day when I happen to come in and pay my taxes and I received a demand fee the day that I came in, that everybody else did as well. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? So voted. Next, we have a communication from the city manager. Requested approval for out-of-state travel for the Department of Planning and Development. What's the wish of the council? Move for approval by Councilor Broderick, seconded by Councilor Noon. Roll call, please.
Counsel Madonza.
Yes.
Counsel Mercia.
Yes.
Mayor Murphy.
Yes.
Counsel Nguyen.
Yes.
Counsel Broderick.
Yes.
Counsel Elliott.
Yes.
Counsel Kennedy.
Yes.
Counsel Laurie.
Yes.
Counsel Martin.
Yes.
9 yeas.
Next, we have an order for 60-day trial. Motion to waive the full reading by Counsel Mendonça, second by Counsel Broderick. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed or voted? Read by title in City Council order. Pursuant to Chapter 266 of the Code of Ordinances, City of Lowell, Massachusetts, concerning Section 266-6, entitled Temporary Experimental Regulations, temporary traffic regulations are implemented for a period of 60 days. It's the wish of the council. Move for approval by Counsel Broderick, second by Counsel Laurie. Roll call, please.
Counsel Madonza.
Yes.
Counsel Mercia.
Yes.
Mayor Murphy.
Yes.
Counsel Nguyen.
Yes.
Counsel Broderick.
Yes.
Counsel Elliott.
Yes.
Counsel Kennedy.
Yes.
Counsel Laurie.
Yes.
Counsel Martin.
Yes.
9 yeas.
Thank you. Next, we have a vote to approve the plan change to the Acre Urban Revitalization and Development Plan. Motion to waive the full reading by Counsel Noon, seconded by Counsel Mendonça. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? So voted. Reading by title in City Council vote. Authorizing the city manager on behalf of the City of Lowell to request approval for the following plan change to the Acre Urban Revitalization and Development Plan for the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Department of Housing and Community Development. What's the wish of the council?
Move approval.
Motion to approve by Counsel Martin, second by Counsel Broderick. Any discussion? Counsel Elliott.
Thank you. I just had a question. I know quite some time ago, the council approved the purchase of a piece of property right off Broadway. I believe it was Susie Iron Works and some other pieces of property. Can you tell me the status? I thought that was supposed to be developed into some housing.
First off, the vote this evening is not related to that property. The vote this evening has to do with the property on Rock Street, and it's simply a matter of the plan called for a certain assemblage of land, and it's proven more practical to do it in pieces, and this amendment allows that to happen. So it's unrelated to the answer to your question, but I'm happy to answer your question. It's probably 2004 or 5, I don't remember the exact year, the City Council voted to acquire the properties that had been owned by Susie Industries on Mount Vernon and Broadway Streets, and the DPD brought in a proposal to convey them out to a developer, and the City Council voted against that proposal at that time. And that prevented the development from going ahead. And subsequently, market circumstances have changed, and there has not been it has not been reasonable to anticipate developer interest in implementing the plan as currently designed in the current market. And we're basically utilizing the property for a number of city purposes until such time as the market conditions are such again that we can consider implementing the plan as originally proposed. The property is currently used for storage by the police department and the DPW, as well as some DPD storage as well.
I understand it's unrelated, but considering we're amending the entire acre plan, I thought it was a good opportunity to ask the question. How much did the city pay for that land, to recall, for the acquisition?
The one that we're actually speaking of tonight, or the Susie site?
The Susie.
I don't recall a precise number. It was not an insignificant amount.
Okay. Thanks. I'll file a motion on it. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Counsel Madonça.
Yes.
Counsel Mercia.
Yes.
Mayor Murphy.
Yes.
Counsel Nguyen.
Yes.
Counsel Broderick.
Yes.
Counsel Elliott.
Yes.
Counsel Kennedy.
Yes.
Counsel Laurie.
Yes.
Counsel Martin.
Yes.
9 yeas.
Thank you. Next, we have a communication from the city manager to appoint Lucille Richards to the Solid Waste and Recycling Advisory Committee.
Move approval. Second.
Motion to approve by Counsel Kennedy, second by Counsel Noon. Roll call, please.
You don't need a roll.
Oh, excuse me. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So voted. And thank you to Lou Richards for being here and being so patient.
We should have her come up to the podium so the public at home can see who our recycling woman is.
They know who she is.
I do want to thank, though, the committee for appointing me to this group, because I am passionate about recycling in Lowell, and I'm looking forward to working with them. Thank you.
Thank you again. Next, we have a vote to appoint Thomas Moses as acting city manager from June 24th to June 30th, 2012. In city council vote to appoint Thomas Moses, CFO, as acting city manager from June 24th, 2012 through June 30th, 2012.
Motion approved.
Motion approved by Councilor Broderick, seconded by Councilor Noon.
Will the budget be done by then?
We certainly hope so. So does Tom. Roll call, please.
Councilor Madonza.
Yes.
Councilor Mercia.
Yes.
Mayor Murphy.
Yes.
Councilor Nguyen.
Yes.
Councilor Broderick.
Yes.
Councilor Elliott.
Yes.
Councilor Kennedy.
Yes.
Councilor Laurie.
Yes.
Councilor Martin.
Yes.
9 yeas.
We have subcommittee reports. Anyone have a subcommittee report? Thankfully not. Next, we have a wire inspector, Extended Systems Incorporated, 22 Bowers Street to 666 Merrimack Street to hang new wires from number 22 Bowers Street to Salem Street to Cabot Street to pole number 1 through 50 on Cabot Street to 666 Merrimack Street. Entertain a motion to accept and adopt the accompanying order by Councilor Martin, seconded by Councilor Broderick. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed? So voted. Next, we have, under general petitions, 2 claims for property damage.
Refer to the law department.
Motion by Councilor Mercia, seconded by Councilor Noon. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed? So voted. Next, we have utility petitions. A conduit location, Comcast of Southern New England Incorporated, request to install 1 3-inch PVC conduit from an existing manhole in the roadway near parking space labeled number 246 on Merrimack Street. Entertain a motion to refer to a public hearing on June 26th by Councilor Kennedy, seconded by Councilor Broderick. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed? So voted. Next, we have a pole location. National Grid and Verizon New England request installation of JO anchor 10 feet off the existing pole number 5. Entertain a motion to also refer to a public hearing on June 26th by Councilor Laurie, seconded by Councilor Broderick. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? So voted. Next, we have a pole location for National Grid. Request to install 2 poles in the remaining section of Edward Street. Entertain a motion to refer also to a public hearing on June 26th by Councilor Kennedy, seconded by Councilor Laurie. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? So on the motion.
Yes, thank you. Just actually a comment, maybe a question. We have it looks like a new review form from the engineer's office, which is very helpful. I just want to make that comment. I appreciate it. It seems that I never saw these before, and it has a nice explanation of what's expected, and I just wanted to comment that, appreciate that.
Thank you. That was voted. So next, we have under motions, Councilor Mercia's motion to request the city manager supply a report and an explanation for the purpose of the annual expenses for all commercial and industrial property uses and the $280 fine for not filling out the form, and what other communities require this as well. Seconded by Councilor Martin. Councilor Mercia.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. People that own commercial or industrial property are given a form once a year with many questions on it. Now, I'm not faulting the city because this is a state law. I'm not going to deny that. The city's following proper procedure by that, so I'm not blaming the city in any least. It asks for the property's location, the use of that property, the tenant's name, the floor level, the leased area, the lease start date, the leased end date, the renewal options, the percentage, the escalation clause, the monthly rent, the annual rent, all on the top page of page 1. On the bottom of page 1, it asks the property owner for the total of potential gross income total vacancies, total concessions, total collection loss, total parking income, the total of other income, and total rents collected. On the second page, it has two columns. One's titled the landlord amount, and the other is titled tenant amount. With that, it asks for the amount of the payroll, the group insurance, management fee, telephone bill, advertising bill, commissions, security wages, legal and accounting fees, how much for supplies, how much for groundkeeping, how much for snow removal, how much for an exterminator, how much for the service contract fees. It asks for the capital improvement of the interior, the exterior, the mechanical, the electrical, and the plumbing. And on the bottom of page 2, it asks the cost you pay for electricity, for gas, for oil, water, sewer, real estate taxes, reserved for replacement apartments that you rent to your employees, and insurance for the one-year premium. And if you do not fill this form out, you would be fined $50 at one time. Now, the fine was raised to $250, and if you're late turning in this information, you're given a late fee of $30, so now the fee is $280 for not providing the information that I feel is none of your business. It's none of your business. Is this Iraq? What business is it of the city? And I'm not blaming the city again, but you wonder why you want to start a business in Massachusetts, because this is a Massachusetts law. This isn't the city's law. They're fining you from $50 to $250, and they're adding on a $30 fee because people are not filling out this questionnaire. Can you blame them? I wouldn't fill it out. What business it is of the city to know how a property owner heats his building or how much he pays out in his payroll. I want a full explanation to us as to why we are so intrusive into the life of a businessman. And yet we wonder why people are not jumping to start an American dream of owning a business when they're faced with an annual third degree. They're given the third degree. Next, they're going to say, do you own a let's do this to the real estate people now. Let's say that you rent an apartment. Is this going to buckle over to us? I think this is the Mass Association of Assessors come up and said, gee, they're not complying with the rules and we're fining them $50. We're going to make it $250. They can make it $1,000. People are just not filling this out because if I own an industrial building and I have a tenant in there and the tenant has a business and they want to ask me, what is this building used for from this tenant? And I say automotive. That's fine. I want to give you that information. It's used for automotive. We're not drug trafficking. We're using it for automotive. Now they want to know, how do you heat that building? What are those people doing in that building? How much is that tenant paying you? I don't think that's anybody's business. Not only do they want to know that, how much is the tenant that's leasing your building, how much are they paying their employees? I don't think this is anybody's business. I don't know what's got into the people in Massachusetts that they're trying to determine the cost of the building, this commercial building, so they're adding this formula of a form to ask these questions. I don't think you can derive at a particular cost of a building because I might have a dilapidated building, but the product that I offer is remarkable, so I'm getting a lot of people to come in and the business is doing fine. The guy next door has a state-of-the-art building and he's got a tenant in there who's selling a product that really nobody cares about. So how can you determine and say that this formula is creating the cost, establishing a cost of that building? I don't understand it. Do apartment complex owners have to fill out the same thing? After all, they're in business too, and I don't think they have to. We could ask them how many people sleep in a room, how many times they flush the toilet. This issue is bizarre, and I need an explanation as to why are we having all these questions. Next, they'll be hitting the homeowner as to how many people visit the house during the week. How many TVs do you have? When will you paint your house, and what color will it be? Don't you think that enough is enough for the business owner? Their tax rate is doubled, they pay a personal property tax, and now this questionnaire is asking to know all but what kind of toilet paper you're using when you're filling out this form. And you gotta send it back in time so that they can know all your information, which is none of their business. And so with this motion, I'm referring it to the city manager, and hopefully maybe we can set forth a home rule petition and ask our State House legislators that we want to be exempt from this bizarre thing. So until I get an explanation on why this is even justified, I can't go that route. But you're talking about businesses in Massachusetts and they got to fill out a questionnaire. Right off the bat, they're penalized, because I don't think it's anybody's business how they're heating the place, what they pay for a telephone bill, what they pay for advertising. I don't think is anybody's business. And I'll leave it at that until I get an answer as to why this bizarre Massachusetts rule that the city of Lowell has to follow. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Laurie.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I was frustrated by this, too. I've run across this now over the past 3 weeks, and I was at the neighborhood meeting last night in the Highlands, and the gentleman next to me, the question came up also. The first complaint I received, actually, by the time I had gotten to him, he had already talked to the assessor, Susan LeMay, who does a very good job. And so by the time I got to him, he'd already talked to Susan. He was fine with it. It's my understanding also, when you fill out this form and send it in, sometimes your taxes may go down. My understanding is, in the past, people have complained, they've done the paperwork, they've come in, and the assessment of the property has actually gone down. That's my understanding. But I would love to see the report, because it's, as I said, as Councilor Mercier, I've seen it now 3 times in 3 weeks, and I think if there's an understanding to the public why it's being done, it may answer a lot of questions. The person, like I said, that I talked to that filed the original complaint with me, after talking to Assessor LeMay, was fine with it. So I'm anxious to see the report.
Thank you. Councilor Broderick and then Councilor Martin.
I think this is a common complaint. I hear this a lot from folks, that even sophisticated business people can't answer all these questions. They're lucky to collect their rent, never mind get from their tenants what their payroll is, what their expenses are, are they paying their bills on time? I mean, you know, it, in my opinion, is intrusive. I understand it's a state law. I'd be interested to find out if there's anything that can be done to scale back. I also understand that some of these factors are, I guess, important in terms of potentially valuing the building. Some of them. I also agree with Councilor Mercy here that, you know, some of these questions, I don't see why it's pertinent, other than to double check to see if you're telling the truth on one of the prior questions. And it gets to the point where, you know, it can be punitive. You know, if you get someone that owns a variety store with a couple of apartments in it, and now they get hit with this form, and they don't know how to fill it out. And it is a bit intrusive. I agree with it, and be interested to see if there's anything that can be done. If it's a state form, it's a state form. Maybe we can, you know, talk to our delegation to find out if this is something that can be done to alter it, to make it a little more user-friendly and provide the basic information we need. Or maybe it's a matter of getting information out to our residents that say, look, fill out what you can, put down not applicable or unknown, and that will be acceptable, but return the form. Because more people that I talk to are afraid of sending it in incomplete and somehow now being on the radar, being in the quote-unquote system. So I think at a minimum, we can get some information out here to folks and maybe explain what the purpose is. Councilor Laurie made a point here that, you know, if we maybe inform people, it might help take care of some of this issue. But I agree that this is, the form is a bit ridiculous, in my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Laurie.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As part of that information coming back, I'm going to ask if we could look into, does it have to be done on 2 families? The guy I talked to last night, and a woman asked me on the way out the door, is it really necessary? Years ago, Councilor Billy Martin brought forward the 2-for-1 Lowell program, where if someone bought a home, 2-family, there was tax incentives, there was help from the city. And do we really need that information on a two-family? A lot of these people use a little bit of that income really to own a home. So I'd like to see that included in the report. Can a two-family, an owner-occupied two-family be exempt from that form? Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion on the motion? Councilor Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I've had complaints too, and, from some fairly sophisticated business people who view a lot of this information as proprietary. It'd be nice if your competition could find out in a public document what you were charging for rent. And maybe it doesn't ask that, but, there's a lot of angst about this form. I don't know if the form is new or just the fines are increased, and that's what's prompting renewed interest in this. But it'd be nice to know the genesis of this, because I haven't had any complaints about this until this year. So this is a fairly new phenomenon. And I know there's been a form out there for a long, long time. So for, whatever was done with view toward improvement is maybe not having the desired impact. Or maybe it is, but I'd like to know why.
Thank you. Any further discussion on the motion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? So voted. Next, we have the last motion of the night by Councilman Mendonça. Request that the city manager review the billing process for parking tickets and include the previous unpaid balance on future bills. Seconded by Councilor Mercia. Councilman Mendonça.
Unknowns to me, I seem to fit in with the theme of these motions. It is somewhat the same in the sense that people received a bill for their unpaid parking tickets, in a sense, not knowing that those were the recently unpaid parking tickets. They came down and paid the bill and thought they were done. Come to find out there were previous past due bills, and they told me the vehicle got towed when they thought they had paid all their bills. So their request is not, any kind of forgiveness or anything, but just that as these bills go out, have the past due amount on there so that they know what the total that they owe is. And it doesn't necessarily have to be itemized, the old stuff. If they've already received a bill on it, what's the total outstanding, plus the new, what do they owe? And they told me they'd be willing to pay for it if they knew. So it could be added revenue if they just knew that they owed the additional amounts. So it just, if possible, changing the billing procedure to include whatever past due amount is. And maybe you could report to us on if collections involve, how that impacts things. Maybe the city loses track of that. I don't know if collection pays for it, in a sense buys the debt and then collects on it later. But maybe that might be worth an explanation to us as well.
Thank you. Any discussion on this motion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? So voted. Given the Councilor Laurie.
Meeting, Mr. Mayor, thank you very much for the acknowledgement. And before we end the meeting, I'd just like to ask the council if they would like to consider, as we go into the budget, letting the department heads go if they want tonight. We have the Greater Lowell School here tonight. We have the Lowell School Department here tonight. We have the manager's office that we could discuss. We have the mayor's office that we could discuss. I wanted to say this about an hour ago, and I'm kicking myself I didn't. These department heads and assistant department heads have been here all night since 5 o'clock. And in fairness to them, if we let them go, that would give the council 2 more days to look at the budget. And actually, we could call the department heads if we had questions, and we might be able to eliminate a lot of the questions going into Tuesday night by calling the department heads. I don't know how the rest of the council feels about it, but that's another 16 hours. We get to look at the budget, call a department head. If we had a question, Thursday night might go a lot quicker. I was just wondering how the rest of the council felt. Thank you.
Councilor Broderick.
I don't have a problem if we want to limit. I mean, we're 25 minutes to 9. At 10 o'clock, we either have to suspend the rules or call the meeting to let folks go now, and maybe do the school department, the VOC, maybe the managers, the clerk, and the law department, because they're here as well. I don't know if it's appropriate for us to call department heads. I just want to throw that out there. I'm not going to do it. I'll wait. But I don't have a problem with letting folks go. It is getting late, and we're not going to get through the whole thing, so I don't want to hold people up for no reason.
Councilor Martin?
I bet if we asked the department heads, they would rather stay tonight than have to come back Thursday and take their chances whether we get to them or not.
Councilor Elliott?
Motion to adjourn.
Given the motion that Councilor Mendonça had earlier, we'll keep the meeting open and then move into the budget hearing, and then return to the meeting after the conclusion of the budget hearing. Councilor Mercia?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Before we adjourn, if I could suspend the rules and just talk about an event that is coming up next Thursday, like we usually do during a city council meeting, but the next council meeting will be on the 26th, and it'll be over. I would just like to mention about the...
Okay, motion to suspend the rules by Councilor Mercia, seconded by Councilor Broderick. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, so voted. Councilor Mercia. Councilor Kennedy, excuse me.
Are we done with this issue? I just have one question for the manager. That's
No,
all.
Councilor Mercia hasn't spoken yet.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Councilor Mercia.
And since he isn't objecting, thank you very much. There's a Salvation Army benefit, and it's Friday, June 22nd, and it's $50. It's to honor former Mayor and City Councilor Edward Bud Caulfield, Friday, June 22nd at Lindsay's in Dracut, and it's $50 donation. Checks made out to Team Mickey Ward, and all that money will go to the Salvation Army. Thank you very much. And if people want tickets, WCAP has tickets, I have tickets. You can buy them at the door. Everybody has tickets. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councilor Kennedy?
I have just a question for the city manager before we adjourn. That doesn't have anything to do with...
We're not going to adjourn. Because of the motion made by Councilor Mendonça, we're going to keep the regularly scheduled meeting open until the conclusion of the budget hearing.
Okay.
Councilor Kennedy?
I got an email this week, and I think every city council did, about the sewer tie-in up on, for the soccer fields. Why is that taking such a long time, and when's that expected to be done? I mean, maybe it is done, but the email indicated that it wasn't done as of last week, that nothing had been done, and so I was surprised because I thought that that we were going to do that forthwith.
I think we indicated that we were going to try to do that hopefully as soon as possible by the end of June. We're trying to coordinate with the developer out there because they're actually going to be doing the work for us out there. I don't know what the current status of that is, but I can check on that tomorrow. We can send out an email to the council.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. At this point, I think we ought to begin. We have the city council, mayor, city clerk, city manager, Lowell school system. So I think we ought to work our way through in order.
May I like to make a motion that we address or take up the budgets of the Lowell school system and the Greater Lowell Voc.
Okay.
Second.
Motion to take out of order by Councilor Elliott, seconded by Councilor Kennedy. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed, so voted. We'll move then to Greater Lowell Technical School. It's on page 198.
we're waiting for the clerk, okay.
We're waiting for the clerk to. Okay, the line number is 44, Greater Lowell Technical School, ordinary expenses, the amount of $6,033,748. Councilor Mercia.
Mr. Mayor, I think we would be wise to move approval because this is part of a formula and there's not anything that we can do about it. So this is dictated by a formula. So I move approval.
Second.
Motion by Councilor Mercia, second by Councilor Broderick. On the motion, Councilor Laurie.
No, I have a question before we do. Yesterday, maybe it was today in the Lowell Sun, I read the, Member Paul Moran, who heads the committee out there, they've reached an agreement with the unions on the next 3 or 4 years, I believe, and I don't know if that will affect this budget this year. That's my only question. I didn't think it would, but it won't affect, okay, thank you.
Yes, good evening. The funding that is tentatively agreed upon is already built into the next year's budget.
Thank you. Any discussion? Councilor Kennedy.
Could we just get just an overview? There is an increase from last year.
The agreement, I think it was misstated a little bit in the paper. I think there was a 0 in first year and then the 3 years subsequent at a 1-1.
Okay. But the budget increase, where does that come from? Is that just?
It's built in, it's the net school spending amount that we're entitled to in the formula.
But I mean the increase from last year, is it due to?
There was an increase in the City of Lowell assessment.
Okay.
Yeah, there was this, next year there's an increase of approximately 63 students from the City of Lowell in next year's budget, which resulted in an increase in the net school spending, which prompted that.
So that's how that happened?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
How many kids are at the school?
Right now, the foundation enrollment numbers for next year are 1,623, roughly 74% of the population.
74% come from Lowell?
Yes.
Okay. All right, thanks.
Okay.
Thank you. Any further discussion on this? Councilman Donta.
Just a question through the mayor. Just to confirm, the formula that's made as an assessment request, that's actually the minimum required amount?
Yes, that's correct. It's a formula from the Chapter 70 net school spending requirement.
Yeah, so there is no leeway, really. That's the minimum required.
No, that's state, that's a state law.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion on this item? Again, it's $6,033,748. Roll call, please.
Councilor Martin.
Yes.
Councilor Madonza.
Yes.
Councilor Mercia.
Yes.
Mayor Murphy.
Yes.
Councilor Nguyen.
Yes.
Councilor Broderick.
Yes.
Councilor Elliott.
Yes.
Councilor Kennedy.
Yes.
Councilor Laurie.
Yes.
9 yeas.
Thank you for your support.
Thank you. Next, we have line number 43, the Lowell Public Schools. It's a single line appropriation. Again, on page 198, the amount is $138,437,342. What's the wish of the council?
Move approval.
Move for approval by Councilor Mercia, seconded by Councilor Noon. Discussion? Councilor Laurie.
Before the vote's taken, I'd like to acknowledge I have a sister-in-law who works as a teacher at the McAuliffe School in Lowell, Julie Gordon.
Councilor Martin.
Yes, my wife's a school teacher too, but I think under the rules, you're allowed to vote for the bottom line budget, so as long as we make that disclosure.
Thank you. Councilor Mendoza.
My daughter and wife are both school teachers, so they both apply same way. So I'm just making a disclosure.
Thank you. Anyone else with family in the schools? Councilor Kennedy.
My wife's a tutor, but it's, I think it's all federal money, so I don't think it's even in this, but as long as we're all disclosing, I may as well disclose as well.
And my daughter works in the cafeteria.
Lowell's a very small community.
Any discussion on the actual line item? Councilor Elliott.
Through you to the manager, there's a $1 million increase, is that correct, in the local funding portion of this? And I know you in your presentation, you indicated we're meeting net school spending.
Well, we're meeting it this year. We hope that this will help us meet it next year. It's the $1 million goes to the schools as money that they can use as they deem necessary. In the past, this is one of those areas that the health insurance savings, that $1 million was used to fund school retiree health insurance. So it couldn't be. We under some compulsion to give it to the schools to start with, but we calculated it out and we're putting this full $1 million into the school budget.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion on this item? Again, it's $138,437,342. Roll call, please.
Counselor Martin.
Yes.
Counselor Mendoza.
Yes.
Counselor Mercia.
Yes.
Mayor Murphy.
Yes.
Counselor Nguyen.
Yes.
Counselor Broderick.
Yes.
Counselor Elliott.
Yes.
Counselor Kennedy.
Yes.
Counselor Laurie.
Yes.
9 yeas.
Thank you. Returning to the first line number, City Council Personnel Services, the amount is $140,000.
Move to approve.
Move to approve by Councilor Martin, seconded by Councilor Mendoza. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
67.
While we're waiting, Mr. Mayor, can I just ask a question?
Sure.
Advertising expenses, what do we advertise? Do we have any idea?
I would think the public hearings that the council holds regarding various council
Budget.
meetings. Right.
Well,
Special meetings.
You can see that in fiscal year 11, $5,000 was spent for that purpose.
Right, and we budget 2,500. Do we typically use all the 2,500? I mean, last year we didn't, but what if we can cut that back a couple of thousand if we don't use it every year? Who's responsible? Do we know? I mean, who places those notices? Is it the manager's office or the clerk's office? I know we've approved it year after year, but I'm just kind of curious.
I believe it's the clerk's office that processes those.
I'm trying to think how many notices that we actually publish on an annual basis.
We can get some historic information here for you, Councilor.
Oops, excuse me.
It looks like on the year-to-date, we've used
$5,000.
98.5%. We've got in rec, so what is it, $1,594? Only $109 left?
Yeah,
There's $109 left, correct.
Oh, it means if something was transferred out, right? What is it? Is there an encumbrance waiting?
Purchase order's up for the Lowell Sun.
Right.
Oop, never mind.
Any further discussion on the, Councilor Kennedy?
Yeah, he's looking off this sheet, which I guess came from you?
The year-to-date?
Yeah.
They came out in the packet this past week?
Yes.
Yeah, that came from me.
That came from you?
Correct.
Okay, and so what is the column where the $1,594.37 is? What is that going?
That's encumbered.
Encumbrance.
Okay, all right, so most of that has been spent then, huh?
This should be the easiest line item for you all.
It should be. I just want to know what we advertise. It's under our budget, so I'd like to, really, I would like to know what we spend $7,500 a year on, and if it's, you know, advertising, budget hearings, fine. I don't know what else that we're spending it on, that's all. Does anybody?
All of your public hearings, not just the budget one. I mean, all
Okay,
of it.
so,
If, it's part of that as well, Council, is keeping up the code online, I believe.
There are ordinances, Counselor. Certain ordinances and loan orders, those all come out of the 7,500.
thank you.
That line item is, we budget it. I know it says city council, but we do the purchase order for it.
That's all I want to know. Thank you.
Thank you. And the line number we're actually voting on at this point is $140,000. Roll call, please.
Well, wait,
We just,
is that because then the 7,500 has to, if one line item for personal services, then one for ordinary expenses?
Correct.
In each department, right?
Right.
Okay.
Roll call, please.
Council Martin.
Yes.
Council Mendoza.
Yes.
Council Mercia.
yes.
Mayor Murphy.
Yes.
Council Nguyen.
Yes.
Council Broderick.
Yes.
Council Elliott.
Yes.
Council Kennedy.
Yes.
Council Laurie.
Yes.
9 yeas.
Next line number 2, City Council ordinary expenses, $7,500.
Move to approve.
Move to approve by Councilor Martin, seconded by Councilor Broderick. Roll call, please.
Council Martin.
Yes.
Council Mendoza.
Yes.
Council Mercia.
Yes.
Mayor Murphy.
Yes.
Council Nguyen.
Yes.
Council Broderick.
Yes.
Council Elliott.
Yes.
Council Kennedy.
Yes.
Council Laurie.
Yes.
9 yeas.
Thank you. The next line number is 3 for the mayor, personal services. The amount is $44,818. It's the wish of the council. Councilor Elliott.
I just had a question as I was reading through the report, why the salary permanent wages is at 102% and there's still 30 days left. Madam Auditor, I presume this came out of your system.
That's for the severance package for Diane.
Okay.
Councilor Laurie.
I don't know exactly what that was, but can we explain it?
The individual that was prior,
Right.
that was improved in the mayor's office, had a cash out of her accrued vacation time and probably some personal days, something of the sort.
Right.
So that exceeded the amount of.
So how can you do that? How can we exceed a budget? I mean, I understand what's taking place, but how can you exceed it without an appropriation?
Typically, at the end of the year, we'll take care of minor variances. You're right, the Mass General Law says you can't exceed the appropriations, but also wage and hour laws say that if somebody works the time, you have to pay them, or there's triple damages. So municipalities are caught between a rock and a hard place here. Typically, we know there are departments out there with unspent wages, and if you recall in the last several years, at the end of the year, or actually after the end of the year, but before July 15th, we submit a number of transfers to clear up these balances. We've done it for the past 4 or 5 years. We'll do it again this year.
Okay, I understand, but this is not unforeseen either. You knew this was taking place, so we see transfers on a somewhat regular basis. So is there any reason why you didn't bring this in beforehand?
I think as Mr. Moses indicated, this is a very small, the only transfers really that I think that have taken place of late have been some transfers in the police budget. We transferred money in from the contingency. We also did some from the cemetery, from the sale of lots and graves, and I think the perpetual care fund. I believe those are the only ones that have come in the last few months.
Okay, and I understand it's just a small amount, but we just had a discussion about demand notices and demand fees, and that we shouldn't be looking at discretionary items. And here's an example. We know what the law is. You can't exceed that line item, so whether it's small or not, the budget line's still going to be exceeded, so there should have been a transfer.
Yeah, we next year,
Okay.
if it happens again, we'll do that.
Council Laurie.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Looking at the line item, the salary for the personnel this year, 42,000?
The amount is 44,000.
44,000?
818.
Okay. I'm wondering, and I would keep the salary this year. You have someone in the office. But if he leaves during the budget year, should we really be paying someone $44,000? And I'm looking at this. This isn't a full-time position with the city. It's really for 2 years or the term of the mayor. And it's a job that has benefits. And I just look at the history of the job, you know, and I look at some of the salaries at City Hall, some of the head clerks, the clerks in the, you know, they're in the 30s, the $38,000, $39,000, and we're paying $44,000. Now, I would vote yes to keep it at the salary this year. That's what the individual was hired at. But if he is to leave, I'm wondering, do we pay $44,000? You know, what makes the person who works in the mayor's office different from some of the clerks or head clerks in City Hall or throughout the system?
This isn't being paid to an individual. We have for just the position. But Mr. Manager,
right?
Well, I think that's the answer. It isn't the individual. It's the position, and the position you know belongs. There's a part of a compensation and classification system. You classify each one of the positions within the city and try to make it so that there's some, you look at it in terms of the education of the people that's needed, the independence that they have in terms of the job functioning. You look at the level of responsibilities, the amount of hours perhaps that someone is expected to work in that position. So this is right.
As I said, I would keep it now as it is for the assistant you have. But if there was a change down the line, I was just looking. Do we have to pay $44,000? That's the only question I have. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Council Kennedy.
Mr. Mayor, and I guess this is probably more for the manager than for you, but the amount budgeted exceeds the amount requested. And you know, that position is newly filled with a new. I mean, why is it that it's budgeted at a higher amount than what was requested by the mayor's office?
As part of the manager's review, what we did is take a look at all non-union positions. There were too many union positions to do this with, but we looked at two things. Number one, did they provide for all money that potentially a person was entitled to under the ordinance? We had to fund that. Number two, I looked at specifically how many weeks they were funded. In a typical year, there's 52.2 weeks per year, and we have to fund that amount. This particular year was 52, so you'll see in quite a few budgets that the amount was actually reduced from what was requested. But in this case, the original submission didn't include a potential step. Now, I know there's discussion that the current incumbent may not stay here, but we don't know that until he leaves.
Right.
And we have an obligation to fund everything that is statutorily we're liable for the incumbent in that position. And so we needed to raise that amount because it is potential that the incumbent is eligible for a step on January 1st.
Why on January 1st?
That's what the ordinance says.
Everybody gets, every non-union person gets their step increase on January 1st, regardless of when they started?
No. Every ordinance employee who receives a satisfactory job evaluation and has not reached the top step.
This position has no steps.
Yes, it does.
Right?
Yes, it does.
It does have steps.
It falls under the ordinance, the personnel ordinance.
Okay. So this person started, I don't know, March or something like that, April? All right. So the step increase would come next April?
January.
Okay. Why does it come in January?
Because that's what the ordinance says. The ordinance has been on the books since 1994.
Okay.
And it's,
But it's an ordinance that sometimes we ignore, which was another question I wanted to ask. I don't understand how it can be that we have that ordinance on the books, and I mean, that was done, I guess, you know, before I got here, but you had said that there were several times during your tenure when you've had to ignore that ordinance. How do we end up doing that?
well, there is some discretionary language within the ordinance regarding the availability of funds and that type of language. And excuse me. It has happened, I believe, 2 or 3 times during my time here, and I know it's taken place at various times in the past as well, based upon the availability of funds.
Okay. All right, so this increase, and I'm only pushing, I know this is just one position, it's in the mayor's office, but I don't want to end up having to ask this every single time with every single department, so I'm just doing it on this one and thinking that it's probably going to be the same answer a lot of times. So the reason that the request is higher is because on January 1 of next year, and so that extra money represents the increase that they get for half of the fiscal year.
Correct.
Okay. When do you have to be here in order to get that step increase on January 1? I mean, what if you came in Thanksgiving? Would you get a raise on January 1st under the ordinance?
I believe, I could be, I haven't looked at that ordinance recently, but I believe you have to be here on the January 1st to get it on, the July 1st to get it on the January 1st.
Okay, so you have to be here 6 months.
Correct.
Okay. And then the other question I have.
That's generally the way those work, and I believe that's the way ours works.
Okay. And then the only other thing I wanted to ask would be for the mayor, and that would be having to do with the office supplies and office operations. Is that okay to ask this now, or?
We can wait till the next item, or you can ask now.
Yeah, what is that? Do you, in the mayor's office, do you have keys to the city and proclamations and that, frames for the proclamations or something suitable? I mean, have you got that kind of stuff to give to people?
Yeah, there are all kinds of office supplies, proclamations, citations, all, the normal course of business throughout the day. Paper, pens,
Yeah, I understand that. I'm concerned with, do you have keys? Keys to the city?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. And so is there a difference between office supplies and office operations? How does that go?
There are office operations, so you have print cartridges and that sort of thing, and then there are the supplies that you would provide, basically things like you're talking about, keys to the city.
Okay. And the amount of that stuff that you have is adequate for, so far it's been that way for you?
So far, it's tracking as usual, so.
Okay.
Councilor Mercia.
Motion to reduce that line item by $2,010 to make it level funded with the request.
Motion by Councilor Mercia.
I know it isn't much, but we got to start somewhere. So I would just give you what you requested and reduce that line item by $2,010. I don't think anybody would be disappointed if you're asking for something and we're giving it to you.
Councilor Elliott.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would like an opinion on this salary ordinance, because I don't remember anything back in '94. There was a union back in '94, and then the union was dissolved. And then it seemed every couple of years there was an ordinance that came in, typically after the budget, when the money was approved, to approve a cost of living for any non-union employees. But I don't recall it just being automatic and infinitum. I know it came in, I know I voted against it, but I don't believe, and I'll ask for the solicitor, how can that be? I mean, I understand the manager indicated availability of funds, et cetera, but how can you just adopt an ordinance that people get automatic pay increases until they reach their top step?
As you had referred to, there was, prior to the ordinance, a union that was made up of department heads and other employees that currently are referred to as confidential or ordinance employees. In conjunction with that union dissolving, the council in its place, I believe, created the ordinance. And the ordinance provides for 2 increases during the course of a fiscal year. The first increase is a cost of living increase, which is a 2.5% increase. The second increase, which is a discretionary increase based on someone's a department head or other employee's performance, would amount to a 2.75% increase for a total of a 5.25% increase per year for all non-union employees. The reality is that over several years' time, the implementation of these increases has not been fulfilled on numerous occasions. I believe it started sometime maybe in the early 2000s, where there was a formal waiver sought from department heads and other employees falling into that category to avoid, for the city to avoid making those payments. And over time, those types of waivers were not sought, and the ordinance simply was not ever implemented or funded.
Could we get that ordinance, please, Madam Solicitor?
Sure,
I think these discussions...
Right, it's in our code of ordinances. We can certainly provide the council with a copy of it, and again...
Do you recall when that was adopted?
I believe it was in 2006, or, I mean, not 2006, 94?
94.
94.
But there were subsequent ordinances that came in thereafter, and, you know, I'm pretty sure I have them, so I understand the 94 vote, but there were subsequent ordinance that came in either changing the salary schedule.
The ordinance that you're referring to, I believe, is what was sort of in-house referred to as a, quote, budget implementing ordinance. And there would be certain changes that would then be codified at the end of the budget process, so that they would then fall into the salary grid that's established as part of the 94 ordinance that we're referring to. But it did not apply to those types of ordinances, were more housekeeping in nature, and did not at all apply to the salary structure that's referred to in this 94 ordinance.
How many employees are we talking about that are covered or included as part of this?
We think there are about 40. I don't have that number off the top of my head.
Can we get that as well as the ordinance? Or
Sure.
Is it online? I'll go and find it myself, but it'd be good to get
I don't believe the number would be online. The ordinance is
Thank you.
online, but we'll get it anyway.
Mr. Manager?
If I could, in terms of the way this works, I mean, it's basically your standard, grade and step system. I mean, it's the same type of system. The federal government uses this same exact type system. There may be some differences in the way it's implemented in terms of cost of living types of increases and so sometimes they're included within ordinances or bylaws in towns, ordinances in cities. But the step system is the exact replica, really, of the type of system that state government utilizes as well as the federal government. Over the past several years, the federal government has been giving out giving about step increases on a regular basis during that period of time, because it's based into the classification and compensation system.
We still have a motion in search of a second to reduce this line by $2,010.
I thought it was seconded by Councilor Elliott.
Okay, seconded by Councilor Elliott. Councilor Kennedy.
Just to go back to this, because, I mean, you're right. The step system's just about everywhere, but usually it's like a 10 or 12 or 15-step deal.
And that's what this is.
Okay, well, I was led to believe, I got the impression that it just went on forever.
No.
Okay.
No, there's a cap off to it.
Okay,
and in this case, what happened was when the mayor's budget was submitted, there wasn't a calculation in for that step and that happens from time to time.
Yeah.
That people put that in.
So it was an oversight.
The other thing that happens from time to time is you'll see it's larger than proposed, and the proposed is still larger than what was approved the prior year, because some people have put in for step increases that exceed what they're allowed, so we have to cut it back. We say we can't do that.
Okay. So, and to touch on what the solicitor was saying, the step increase then is the 2.5%, and everybody picks that up in January 1st.
The 2.75%, I believe, in January. 2.5% is the cost of living in July.
Okay. And so you get one after, so actually in the course of the year, you pick up for as many steps as there are, and what are there, 10, 12?
7, I think.
7?
Right.
You pick up, you do a little better than 5.25, don't you? Because you get
only half the year of its 2.75.
Yeah.
And then you get the 2.5, so it's about 3 point something.
Well, for
and
that year, but I mean overall, yeah.
Right, and then it caps off. The same applies to the almost every union has step increases as well. That in addition to their, they have fewer and larger.
Yeah.
And some have smaller and many more. It varies.
In the Division of Planning and Development, are there unions in there, or would this apply to everybody in that department?
Which, excuse me?
Division of Planning and Development?
There were unions in that department.
Okay.
That's represented by
Just
2532, and is there any? What's that? In 1705?
5 unions in DPD.
5 unions in DPD.
Three MVEA locals, 2532 and 1705, all have representatives in DPD.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Councilor Noon?
Thank you, Mayor. I noticed that earlier this evening, there was a job opening on the aid to your office, and so in anticipation for that, I think your request for, I know it's job opening not for anytime soon, but in the next couple months, maybe in anticipation. I think in anticipation for that, probably that's where you may requesting a budget of 42 with 800 something with change. I think, for someone who just start that positions, if they're coming in, assuming they're coming in, assuming that your current 8 now leave in September, I would say that that person should start at the level that the current 8 to you getting, which is 42, not 44. So I think it's reasonable. I understand what the managers spoke of, the grade and step increase to use to implement the increase in cost of living. But I do also have questions maybe when we get to the line item on the office supply and operation. I just like to know the clarification or the difference between the two. But I think to start off, we may be just looking at cutting 2,000. I know it's not a whole lot, and I concur with Councilor Mercy on this. Yes, we need to start somewhere, though. So thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councilor Broderick?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I guess I have a couple questions. I'm not really sure about the talk of the mayor's aide leaving. I'm not really sure where that came from, or I guess for budgeting purposes, the relevance. If he leaves, the job would be filled by somebody else, and I assume a salary would be set at that point. I understand that. I guess I'm looking at this as a total document, and my concern is that we start pulling out ordinance employees and cutting only their increases. And, as long as I've sat here, my personal opinion is that there should be some parity here, some, equitable standards applied. And, I understand, we need to cut everything we can here. But I think that if we start singing, the reason there isn't a union for these folks is because of the system that's set up. And, I guess I would caution, and I don't think I would support a reduction in what looks like it was a mistake, a mistake in the submittal is being corrected in line with all of the other ordinance employees. I think I personally would support following what we do for the rest of the employees. And that's my concern. I understand, I think we're talking two different animals here. If he leaves, he's going to leave. I don't know anything about that. I'm not sure where that comes from, and I just don't know. But my concern here is we start, peeling off the $60,000 in or $65,000 or $70,000 in raises or increases, whether we call them cost of living or steps, to the ordinance employees, where, if we're not going to do that across the board. And I guess that's what, I want to say at the outset is I think that we ought to look at that equitably. Thank you.
Councilor Mercia.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I don't want to be disrespectful to anyone. I know everybody that works in the City Hall has a duty to perform, and they do it to the best of their ability. But if someone builds up an office and is in here 13 years, and they rose up to a certain percentage of a salary, a certain amount, and then someone comes in and assumes that day one they're going to start at the top like that, I have a problem with that in any office that happens unless they're completely thoroughly experienced in the day-to-day operations, then that's a different story. And I'm not saying the people in different offices aren't, but I'm asking to cut $2,010. I mean, I don't think it's earth-shattering that someone comes in from day one and never been in that office before. I mean, I don't know what the big deal is. I have a philosophy, though. When people come in, I don't know how they should think that they can assume, without having been there before, that they get the same amount of money. I don't get it. I like someone to prove to me that you can do the job, and then maybe we'll give you an additional amount of money. But I don't know. People today ought to be thrilled we have a job here, and that's my philosophy right there. And I don't think cutting $2,010 is an earth-shattering request.
Further discussion? Councilor Kennedy?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, read it to the manager. When we voted for the superior officers' raises the other day, part of the discussion was around that their unions had not received a raise for several years. What is the case with the non-union people? Have they also foregone raises for several years, or have they been getting raises all the time? And the other thing is, I guess for me, I probably would like to know what the 2.5 or the 2.75, I'm a lot more comfortable with than the 5.25. But nevertheless, could you answer my question though on, have these people been getting raises every year, or how's that been going?
No, they have not been getting them. In fact, the opposite is true. That they have the non-union people have over the course of the last number of years had more years of no raises than the union people.
Okay. I guess I think that this position is somewhat special in that this person works for the mayor's office. At least I consider it to be that way. And that whatever is budgeted, I would imagine that the mayor, who's only going to be there for a 2-year term, is going to pay at the budgeted position. I don't know why anybody would pay less. And so I don't really have, if we're going to cut the $2,018, then I would want to do that throughout the budget. But I really don't, I don't see that at the end, and after doing all that through the whole course of the budget, I'm not sure that we're going to end up saving all that much money. So I think there are probably other places in the budget where I would like to see cut rather than this. So anyways.
Councilor Laurie.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I guess I kicked this all off by asking basically for the clarification of the position. And I guess I'd also heard it may open during the course of the year, and that's why I looked back and said, well, should someone really be starting at $44,000? My other question is, if it did open up during the course of the year, would that person be eligible for a step increase in January?
Not if they came on after July 1st.
So there's my question. Thank you.
Any further discussion on this line number? Again, it's the motion is to reduce this line by $2,010 from $44,818 down to $42,808. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Counselor Martin.
No.
Counselor Mendonça.
Yes.
Counselor Mercia.
Yes.
Mayor Murphy.
Present.
Counselor Nguyen.
Yes.
Counselor Broderick.
No.
Counselor Elliott.
Yes.
Counselor Kennedy.
Yes.
Counselor Laurie.
Yes.
6 yeas.
And again, it's not the position, it's the individual. It's not the individual, it's the position. But if you did know the amount of hours that are put in throughout the week, and after the hours of 5 o'clock and throughout the weekend, I think you'd understand the rationale for at least that. The next line number is 4.
I'd like to make a motion that we recess till Thursday at 5 o'clock. And the reason being, we're not going to get to the rest of the department heads tonight. We get the managers, line items, budget, we have the finance, we have auditors. No sense of having the department heads stay here all night. We're running up close against the 10 o'clock timeline, so I'd like to offer that as a
Second that motion.
Motion by Councilor Elliott, seconded by Councilor Kennedy. Councilor Martin.
Well, these folks are sat here, some of them 4.5 hours in anticipation of having their budget heard, and I think there are good policy reasons to not go beyond 10 o'clock, but I don't see why we shouldn't at least continue to then, so I oppose the motion.
Any further discussion on the motion? Roll call, please.
Counselor.
Could I make,
Councilor Broderick.
I understand the intent behind the motion, and we have, I think, we're halfway through the mayor, then we have the clerk and the city manager next. If it looks that we have 35 minutes till it's 10 o'clock, if we're spent 35 minutes on the what do we do? The mayor and the schools, I wouldn't be opposed to continuing on through the city manager and letting everyone else go home. That may make more sense rather than having everybody wait. The clerk and the manager are going to be here anyway. So, if we want to make use of the time, but I don't think that folks should necessarily have to sit here knowing they're not going to be reached. If that's some type of a compromise.
Councilor Elliott.
I don't have, I just don't want to have to rush through this. We've scheduled another meeting for 5 o'clock on Thursday, and that's the reason why I put it forward. I feel bad the folks have to sit here for such a length of time. So I just think I understand the intent. If we want to continue to move forward, that was just a motion to recess till June 5th. 5 o'clock Thursday.
Anyone else on the motion? Roll call, please.
Counselor Martin.
No.
Counselor Mendonça.
No.
Counselor Mercia.
Yes.
Mayor Murphy.
No.
Counselor Nguyen.
No.
Counselor Broderick.
No.
Counselor Elliott.
Yes.
Counselor Kennedy.
Yes.
Counselor Laurie.
Yes.
4 yeas, 5 nays.
Mr. Mayor, maybe it's
Councilor
appropriate to tell some department heads that we're not going to get to them. I mean, you can kind of, rather than have everybody here, you're going to have everybody wait here till 10 o'clock, and everybody's pretty sure that we're not going to go too deep into the budget this evening.
Well, I mean, we can just continue with the order that we have, which, given the pace of things, probably won't get past the next couple of lines, but we have line number 5, city clerk. Personnel Services. The amount is $300,128. Excuse me,
Oh,
go
wait.
back to ordinary expenses. We're still on the mayor, actually. Line number 4, mayor, ordinary expenses. The amount is $2,900.
Move
And that's
approval.
on page 73. Move for
Second.
approval by Counsel Kennedy, seconded by Counsel Laurie. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Counselor Martin.
Yes.
Counselor Madonza.
Yes.
Counselor Mercia.
Yes.
Mayor Murphy.
Present.
Counselor Nguyen.
Yes.
Counselor Broderick.
Yes.
Counselor Elliott.
Yes.
Counselor Kennedy.
Yes.
Counselor Laurie.
Yes.
8 yeas, 1 present.
Next, we have line number 5, City Clerk, Personnel Services. The amount is $300,128. This is on page 79. What's the wish of the council?
Move approval.
Move for approval by Councilor Mercia, seconded by Councilor Mendonça. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Counselor Martin.
Yes.
Counselor Madonza.
Yes.
Counselor Mercia.
Yes.
Mayor Murphy.
Yes.
Counselor Nguyen.
Yes.
Counselor Broderick.
Yes.
Counselor Elliott.
Yes.
Counselor Kennedy.
Yes.
Counselor Laurie.
Yes.
9 yeas.
We have line number 6, City Clerk, Ordinary Expenses. The amount of $23,100. Councilor Mercia.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Under the professional line item that the auditor has given us, we see professional services, $8,000. And on the year-to-date budget report that the city, I'm sorry, I think it was the city manager that put that in our packet. It shows that only 16.8% of that line item was used, and they budgeted $8,000 for that line item. They have $6,655 available in that budget line item right now, and now they're asking for another $8,000. I wouldn't cut the whole thing, but I'd propose cutting $4,000 out of that. And if you can explain to me why I can't justify that,
I'll have the assistant clerk will explain that.
I'll be willing to listen, but
Some of that is the codifications that haven't been sent out yet, the ordinances that are codified. That $8,000 is taken as the ordinances are put through. They don't send them, one at a time, they send them in bulk.
So
Yeah,
where's,
to bring the code, put the code on up to date and on the website.
I understand what you're saying, but you got you only use 16% of that in the whole budgetary year on that line item.
There are a number, Council, that are waiting to get implemented by the code. There's quite a number there, and I think that would be used up relatively quickly, because I think there's about 10 of them that are not in the code itself, but are getting ready to be implemented into the code.
All right, so here's the next question. When June 30th is gone and July 1st comes, that money is gone, isn't it? Where's that money going that we didn't use?
If it's been encumbered, if there's a purchase order cut to do certain work, then that money can carry over into the next fiscal year, but as long as it's used for that purpose.
Well, would the auditor know what's encumbered? Because I got $150 that's encumbered here. So what's the answer to this? If you have the answer, what?
Line are you talking about?
I'm talking about professional service line item. You want the number?
No,
Page 8.
I have it right here. I'm looking at my report, and it was probably a day different. I have $656.25 encumbered, with the balance of $6,655.
That's what I'm saying, yes. So the $6,655 isn't encumbered. Is it encumbered?
The 6,000, no.
It isn't, so we're gonna lose that, right?
Not unless they put up a purchase order, never.
Well, they don't have much
A
time.
contract or
I think you
whatever.
better.
There are a number of ordinances that are being ready to be codified, and I think that would, purchase order would be written on that, because we deal with the legal department on that as well in terms of,
So you're telling me you need this money?
yes.
All right, I understand. Let me ask you about the line item under city clerk that says computer equipment / software, and you've gone from fiscal year 12, 6,000 to 9,000. What are we anticipating buying in that
We're
department?
anticipating a software to put on our vitals so that it's able to track and record statistical evidence throughout the course of the year, and that was kind of as we do these performance budgets, I think that was an important element to move forward on it.
All right, I'll leave it alone.
Do we have any further
Move approval.
discussion? Move for approval. Counselor Broderick, seconded by Counselor Laurie. Roll call, please.
Counsel Martin.
Yes.
Counsel Madonza.
Yes.
Counsel Mercia.
Yes.
Mayor Murphy.
Yes.
Counsel Nguyen.
Yes.
Counsel Broderick.
Yes.
Counsel Elliott.
Yes.
Counsel Kennedy.
Yes.
Counsel Laurie.
Yes.
9 yeas.
Next, we have line number 7 on page 89 for the city manager, personnel expenses of $1,113,741. It's the wish of the council.
Mr. Mayor?
Council Kennedy.
Yeah, through you to the manager. Mr. Manager, this line item includes a new position. And in the budget, it says that the new position is funded by a grant.
That's correct.
And so that grant would be for what, 1 year?
Correct.
Okay. And so what would happen to the position after that?
The position would, unless there was some other proposal brought to the council, or the council, and the council supported it, that position would go away.
Okay, and what's the salary for that position?
I believe the salary for that is $50,000.
Even?
Yes.
And why do we want this position? I mean, even if it's funded by a grant, what is this person going to do?
Well, the individual will be working with, Mr. Herbert, would you like to?
Good evening. In regards to the question of the junior data analyst, a few months ago, the City of Lowell and the Lowell Staff Program was awarded, it was around $375,000 to develop a statewide performance indicator and performance management program for several communities across the state. In designing that program, one of the things that it was determined would be that we would focus on public safety departments and then also DPW in these programs that would be in different communities across the state. This analyst is part of that grant and is going to be doing Lowell's share of collecting the information and doing the analysis and conducting the meetings in terms of this statewide initiative.
Okay. How many communities received the grant money besides Lowell?
5.
You know what the other 4, so 6 altogether?
No. It was 4 and Lowell.
Okay. And what were the other 4, if you just know off the...
Amesbury, Worcester, Somerville, and Woburn.
Okay. And so you would just focus on DPW and public safety?
Mm-hmm.
Now, is that what you've been focusing on so far during your time here?
DPW has been DPW Development Services. We've looked at parking, a couple of other departments.
Okay. And so what if, I guess my question is, what have you done to save money for the city? Why should we be adding another person? I don't know. So I'm not being a wise guy. It's really just don't know.
No. It's a fair question, and if you'd indulge me, I'd be happy to answer in as briefly a way as I can. If you want to start at the financial savings that we've realized, I'd say first would be the maintenance of the city cemeteries. We've saved approximately $800,000 over a 3-year period. Actually, after you've adjust that with the additional personnel that we've brought into the cemeteries from the streets department, that goes down to around $750,000.
Over a 3-year period?
Over a 3-year period, yes. So that's not annually.
How about for 1 year? In other words, why are you presenting it as a 3-year period?
I just looked at it across the total of the contract.
Okay.
So.
And how did you save that money?
Well, what we did was we were able to do this without laying anybody off by essentially bringing in an outside contractor to do maintenance within the city cemeteries. As positions were open in different divisions of DPW, we moved the current personnel that were in the cemetery division out into those divisions within DPW. So that's the way we were able to do that, and saved, not only on the salaries at that point, but then also the benefits.
Okay. And so did you do an analysis? Was there a report or something that showed how that savings, where that savings?
We did an analysis. We did an analysis through the, Lowell meetings and through our programs. We developed a plan on how to do it. We looked at whether it was feasible, whether it made sense from a financial standpoint and from an organizational standpoint. And then we also, monitored the implementation of that program, which required writing the RFP, making sure the personnel, the organizations were in shape that, we could put personnel into different divisions.
Okay. Anything else besides this?
Sure.
If I may, Councilor, on your desk, we just gave you a bullet sheet that has all of the selected, but really just a selected list of accomplishments of the Lowell program. There's quite a bit more that goes beyond that, but
okay.
This gives you some sense.
All right. Then I'll just take a look at this, I guess. But, so this person will be helping you with those two, just with those two areas, and that's it?
That person will be doing the grant components of that we're required to do under this grant, which will be working with those divisions and departments.
What'd you say the grant was, 375?
375,000.
And is that split up between all the communities? Is that 375 to Lowell?
That whole 375 comes to Lowell because we are the lead community and we're considered the fiscal agent as the lead community for the rest of the community.
So is your position paid for through a grant?
No, this grant cannot be used to supplant existing funding.
Okay, so what's the rest of the money going to be used for?
Rest of the money is going to be used primarily to hire a contractor who will be doing a lot of this work on behalf of the communities, the 5 communities that are receiving this money for a grant. The other communities, the core communities, the ones that applied with Lowell to receive this grant, will also be receiving some money. There are also a couple of other components that we have to fulfill to fulfill the grant requirements. One is to develop a website. Part of the money will go towards that.
Okay. So would I be correct in, if it's 375 and we're getting a position of 50,000, then are all the other communities also getting 50,000 positions, and then whatever's left over, that's the money that would be spent collectively? Is that how the grant works?
No, the other communities are not going to be getting $50,000 each.
How come?
Because they are going to be doing significantly less work in terms of like coordination,
So even
the administrative
though
aspects.
The award was for the 375 is to all those communities, everybody didn't get an equal amount. It's not, they're not being treated the same.
Well, they're not being treated the same because we each have different roles within the consortium.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, not really, but I don't want to, I'm getting tired, and it sounds like there's a long way to go to get to the bottom of it, so thanks.
Okay.
Any further discussion? Councilor Elliott.
So this is one of my concerns with the way that this budget is submitted, is everything is lumped in together, and it's hard to crosswalk one, salaries and individuals. So, Mr. Manager, can you explain the increases in the salary and wages permanent? FY12 was 418,906, and this year is 443,741.
Excuse me. Essentially, it's all listed in the back end of the personnel that you can grab some of that. But it's the same positions that are in place now, with the exception of the junior analyst, which is then offset by the grant. And it is the step increases that the employees are entitled to under the ordinance. There's 1, 2, 3. There's a number of pool-related positions that are in there as well, I believe, or What do you have that?
Council Lowry?
One second. That would include myself, Mr. Marchand, Ms. McIntosh, Mr. Herbert, the data analyst, and Mr. Damaris, the neighborhood coordinator, neighborhood services coordinator. Those salaries totaled in fiscal year 12, $418,000. That total in fiscal year 13 is $493,741 minus the $50,000, which brings us to $443,741.
So there's $25,000 of salary increases in your office?
That's correct.
Okay. I did want to ask Mr. Hebert, I did see his salary of $69,000. How long has he been here? Or how long have you been here, Mr. Hebert?
Mr. Herbert's been here 2 years.
What was your starting salary? I thought it was in the 40s.
It was in the 50s. It was about $55,000, $56,000.
Okay.
His role has expanded over that period of
So
time.
how does that salary increase go from 50,000 to 69?
Up until now, he's been serving as the acting assistant HR director, and because of expansion of the role, we're placing him at that same salary level in fiscal year 13.
So what was the salary level before that?
Before he went into HR, I believe it was up at about 50.
So he's in HR or is he in your office? Which one is it?
He's brought back to my office so he can work full-time on the STAT program, which is the way it was intended to start with.
So shouldn't he go back to that same salary level?
His responsibilities have expanded.
Okay, what was the salary level before then? Before he went to, human resources?
Before what?
Before he went down to perform human resources.
He was, I think I said that already, it's about $58,000, $59,000.
Well, he said about, so I just want to know, because the salary of the junior data analyst is not $50,000, it's $50,979, so.
Right. I was off by $979.
Right,
I apologize for that.
So can you explain, I just don't understand how someone can take such a large salary jump in 1 year.
He assumed new responsibilities. He's been participating in the collective bargaining that was not intended with initially. He's played the main role in the performance budgeting that the city council has asked be utilized. He's played a role in that. He's continued to play a role in the STAT program. He brought in is now administering this grant for us. So he's playing a much larger role than it originally intended in the STAT program.
So how can you recategorize that legally, or you bring in an ordinance change later? How can that data analyst position?
We'll bring in an ordinance change later to implement this.
Okay, so what is that salary increase going to be exactly?
Well, it was at 58,072 before we went down to HR. It's now at 69,453 or 63.
So it's almost like we have to uncover some of this stuff, Mr. Manager. You know, I mean, it's good that I read through the entire budget, but this is something that should be brought to the forefront. And I understand this is a new way of doing things, and you're, putting everything under certain line items. But are there any other positions in here that are getting significant increases?
There may be a couple more in here that jobs have been redefined.
Okay, wouldn't it be better and wouldn't it be more transparent to let the city council know who's getting that this is a significant increase from when he first started? How did he go from his starting salary to his latest salary of $58,000? Are those step increases, grade increases? He's only been here a couple of years, right?
Correct. It was a step increase in there, but also again, when he went to HR, he started assuming some of these other responsibilities that tie in very well with the STAT program.
Okay, I don't have any other questions.
Councilor Kennedy?
I have two questions. One is, there's quite an increase for professional services.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that?
based upon really expectations of needs. We are currently implementing the GIC program, and we utilize outside labor counsel to assist us in the negotiations, which saved us that $4.8 million. And we anticipate that as we go through the implementation of that, there may be issues that arise with our public employees group that would necessitate those services in the upcoming year as well.
Like what? What do you mean? Why would there be? I mean, there's professional services in the law department budget as well.
That's
for
correct.
Outside counsel. So why would you anticipate there would be, that's a $20,000 increase here?
I don't think it's actually a $5,000 increase, I believe.
Oh, I'm sorry, because it said 20. The request was for 35.
Initially, we put in for 35 and we
All
cut
right,
that
yeah.
back.
And then you cut it back to 20.
Right. This year, as you can see, or in FY11, and this was before that, we utilized $15,449. It's that attorney, but it's also other services that we, appraisal services that we utilize during the year when there's properties that we're interested in, getting the values on for whatever purpose.
Okay, 5,000 is different from 20 to me.
Yeah.
I was looking at the 35,000. But to go back on to the salaries that Councilor Elliott was talking about, I mean, we just cut $2,000 out of the mayor's budget for salaries. And so, I don't know how we can just let it fly in the manager's office without doing the same thing. I can understand the 2.5 and the 2.75, but I don't understand a $20,000 increase. I don't see where that's warranted in these economic times.
It's not a $20,000 increase, it's less than that. It's, the 58,000, rolling back to 58,000, then adding in the steps, and then adding in the additional services, and you're up still under $10,000.
Did you say the salary was 69?
And the salary before was 58
It started at
something.
50?
It started at 54, I believe.
Okay, even still. That's still a pretty good amount of money. And you said that there were a couple of other people in the manager's office that were getting?
Not in the manager's office, no.
Okay. Elsewhere
Throughout the rest of city government.
Okay. It would be helpful to see exactly what the salaries are for these persons. I mean, a lot of budgets will have that. This doesn't, everybody is clumped together in this. I think the budget is, the way it's done is very good, but that's one of the shortcomings about it, is that everything isn't, I suppose you can go back to the book, to the back of the book, and then keep on.
It is, I will say this, that it's consistent. If you look, if you've had experience looking at other municipal budgets, it is consistent with the way other municipal budgets are put together, where the focus is a little less on, is much less put on who is getting what, as opposed to what is being generated by the departments.
I understand that, but a lot of times in budgets, I've seen that if there's an increase, the increase is there. What you have is just, you say a couple of pages back that the city manager's budget decreases to 449, but the salaries increased by 5.93%, which is okay. I mean, I suppose it flags that, but you still have to go back and forth in order to figure all that out. Do you see what I mean?
All right, we can flag things like that in the future, probably.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Thank you. Councilor Lowry?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just looking quickly through the personnel, was your office down a secretary, or?
We're down, there used to be 3 clerical staff people. We cut that back to 2 during the budget cuts. A couple of years ago, we added a part-time person back in, utilized that. That person left. During this year, we began the search and then determined that there was going to likely be a shortfall in the sick time buyback account. So we put that off. We are having a problem with, the amount of work that comes through the manager's office and largely responding to constituent and councilor requests.
Right.
And we're also having a problem with coverage in the office because every department is down. And so we have issues that we're trying to deal with there as well.
I thought you were down a position, and I'm looking, and you're not going to fill it this year.
Well, not this year, but we're not filling a position. We
Right.
still have the, right, correct.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
That's
You're
correct.
saving the money on the position this year. And there was one other question I had. Councilor Kennedy asked about professional services. And I'm seeing this through dues and subscriptions. It's going up $1,500. At the bottom.
Correct. You can see in fiscal year 11, it was 1684. In 12, we lowered that down to $500. I believe we've already probably gone somewhat over that now with various dues and subscriptions to the Mass Municipal. We have the Mass Municipal Association up above, but you have the Mass Municipal Managers Association, we have organizations such as that we.
Okay, when I saw this total salaries again, I knew there was you were down a position. I went back, I looked, and I've looked a couple of times. It's just not going to fill it again this year then?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
We'll just, right.
Thank you. Councilor Mercia.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We're not in expenses yet. We're still in the city manager's portion under personnel, right?
Correct.
Correct.
So I'm concerned about salary and wages temporary, when in fiscal year 11, it was $2,036. Fiscal year 12, they approved $20,000, and the paper that the city manager provided in our packet said salary and wages temporary, $20,000, but there was a transfer adjustment, and $19,600 was taken out of that, and a revisal of $400. Year to date, they only spent $40, and there's $360 in that line item in the budget. They've only spent 10% of that line item, and now you're asking for $20,000 again requested. So where are we going with this here?
Well, that's, I just responded to Councilor Laurie on that with the, this was the part-time clerk that we had. She was a Middlesex College student who served in fiscal year 11 towards the end when the money was transferred in to refill that, or to fill that part-time position. In fiscal year 12, she left, so we didn't spend any of that 20, and we were going to spend, we were going to refill it, but then we determined that there was the need for the money in the sick time buyback, which is, again, one of the reasons we're trying to get rid of that. But for the very reasons I just described to Councilor Laurie, we're down in that office by one person, so we're just trying to use a part-time person to fill the gap.
So you're using that salary and wages temporary for that purpose?
Correct.
Okay, so then why is there a $70,442 increase in the top one, salary and wages permanent? What's happening with that then?
It's actually a $25,000 increase. The requested, I'm not sure what that request number consists of. But this year, in fiscal year 12, it's the $418,906. It's going up to the $443,741, which is roughly $25,000. And that's the step increases for the 5 staff people that I mentioned.
Step increases.
Step in cost of living under the ordinance.
So who put this budget of yours together when they requested $373,000, and it's your own department, and we're giving you more? Like, wouldn't you know that you wanted $443,000? I don't understand.
You would think that, wouldn't you?
You would think it, yes. So it wasn't you that put it together, was it?
No, it wasn't.
Was it Tom Moses?
Yes, it was.
Holy Moses, something's not right here. Okay.
He's my numbers guy.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Councilor Mendonça.
Back to the grant-funded position. Is that in our budget? I mean, that's included in the salary line item?
It's included and then netted out.
Okay, that's what I understood.
Right.
I know it's going to be netted out, but usually if it's grant-funded, it's listed separately because we're not really funding it in our budget. Is that because we don't have the revenues that we can show yet, or?
No, we've been awarded, and in fact, the council has accepted the grant.
All right, so in this budget somewhere, is there the offsetting grant money as revenue?
Correct.
Okay. In the report that was given to us for year-to-date expenses, the salaries line item is only expended at about 80%, which typically at this time of year would be 93%. So is that your deferral and the clerk not being in the office, or is that account for
It's
that?
more, I think it's the deferral is a large chunk of that. The clerk that, the part-time clerk is the salary and wage is temporary.
Temporary.
Part-time, we call it temporary. City's always done it that way. So that's I think that's the major difference.
But the budget amount now is what's scheduled for next year under ordinance?
Correct.
And contract. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Councilor Elliott.
So just going back to Council Mercer, where she was talking about the salary and wages to transfer out of 19.6.
We moved that out, right?
Right.
Yeah, if I may, Councilor, just to, the other issue, Councilor, that happened there is in moving the data analyst into HR, there was a shift there that there was some savings as a result of that as well. I'm sorry, Councilor.
No, that's fine. It sort of just dawned on me how all these transfers are taking place. I don't recall seeing this many coming before the city council. And if, I mean, there's literally, I don't want to say hundreds, but there's a lot of transfers within every single budget line item.
As long as they're within the line item and they're all expenses, you vote the expense line or the salary line, and as long as it's a salary item.
So
within
you're
the salary-
moving money in between line items without council approval?
In expenses, yes.
I don't think you can do that.
You can. And in fact, if you go back to the Department of Revenue
I
operation.
don't know, what's funny, Mr. Moses? You're smiling.
It's funny because the Department of Revenue came in and recommended that we change the budget to do that.
Why?
And I think you were here, to provide the administration more flexibility in managing their own budgets.
Well, we're managing it all right, but people are exceeding their budgets as well. I don't think Department of Revenue would say, meet with approval with that, would they?
I think they would agree with what we've done there because of the wage and
Okay.
salary line lines.
I move that we reduce salary and wages line item by $11,000. Salary and wages permanent.
Second.
Motion by Councilor Elliott to reduce the line item by 11,000 even? What was he?
Well, the manager doesn't know the salary of the beginning salary. He said it was about an $11,000 increase, so unless you can get me a specific salary increase from one year to the next, then I don't know, because you can't tell from this information we received. So
that's
that was the
about
reduction of
11,000?
11,000.
Reduction of 11,000 from 1,113,741 down to 1,102,741. Motion was by Councilor Elliott, second by Councilor Kennedy. Any discussion on the motion? Roll call, please.
Counselor Martin.
No.
Counselor Madonza.
No.
Counselor Mercia.
Yes.
Mayor Murphy.
No.
Counselor Nguyen.
No.
Counselor Broderick.
No.
Counselor Elliott.
Yes.
Counselor Kennedy.
Yes.
Counselor Laurie.
No.
3 yeas, 6 nays.
Motion to approve the full amount, $1,113,741.
Motion by Councilor Martin, seconded by Councilor Noon. Roll call, please.
Counselor Martin.
Yes.
Counselor Madonza.
Yes.
Counselor Mercia.
Yes.
Mayor Murphy.
Yes.
Counselor Nguyen.
Yes.
Counselor Broderick.
Yes.
Counselor Elliott.
No.
Counselor Kennedy.
No.
Counselor Laurie.
Yes.
7 yeas, 2 nays.
Being just after 10 o'clock, you have to make a decision on whether to waive Rule 5 or continue both the budget hearing and the regularly scheduled meeting until Thursday at 5 o'clock.
I move we recess till 5 o'clock on
Second.
Thursday.
Motion by Councilor Kennedy, seconded by Councilor Broderick. Councilor Mendonça.
I would just like to request if it could be any later, 5:30 or 6 o'clock, it would be helpful to me.
To the maker of the motion.
Second, that's fine. Say 6 o'clock?
6.
I think, can we do that? We posted it for a certain time.
We did post it for 5 o'clock.
So long as we don't do it earlier, I believe we're okay.
Earlier than what, 5 o'clock?
Yes, we cannot hold it earlier than 5 o'clock, but we can hold it later as long as we...
What would happen if there was no quorum at 5 o'clock? Wouldn't we just wait till there was quorum?
Right.
Okay, the motion was by Councilor Broderick.
Well, let me say, if,
Excuse me. Councilor
I don't object to starting later, but, you know, usually I'm one who's wants to hold to the curfew, but if we're gonna start later, I will consider going past 10 then, if we're close to finishing.
Okay. Any further discussion on the motion? For 6 o'clock then on Thursday to begin the budget hearing and resume the regularly scheduled meeting. Roll call, please.
Councilor Martin.
Yes.
Councilor Madonna.
Yes.
Councilor Mercia.
Yes.
Mayor Murphy.
Yes.
Councilor Nguyen.
Yes.
Councilor Broderick.
Yes.
Councilor Elliott.
Yes.
Councilor Kennedy.
Yes.
Councilor Laurie.
Yes.
9 yeas.